Good to meet you. There's Jonathan just coming in. So you're all having a good day?
Yes, thanks.
There's the man of the moment. Just there.
But by all means, talk amongst yourselves for the next 10, 12, 13, no, 12 and a half, 13 minutes by 9 o'clock. Then at 8 o'clock, then I want everyone to mute themselves at 8. Am I clear?
You're clear, but you're a touch echoey.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
That's better, Alex.
It might be because we've all got our mics and speakers on. That might be why he's echoing. That'll stop when we put ourselves on mute.
Yeah, everyone go quiet a second. I've just changed mic. Right, what's that mic like?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's because apparently I still have the laptop mic or the webcam mic on, whichever it may have been, and I've just changed to one that says it's the USB mic, which assumedly is the studio mic I've got here with the diffuser over the front.
Yeah, that's much better, Alex.
Right, in which case, talk amongst yourselves. I'll get everyone to mute themselves just before 8. I need to stick my audio recording and such like on. So I'll be back with you very shortly. Hello.
I'm going to go now.
Oh, stay. Have some fun.
Are you a hypnotist, Ashley?
I'm not called Ashley. Sorry, this is my daughter's login. She's been using Zoom. I'm called Rachel.
Rachel, are you a hypnotist?
I'm qualified, but I don't actually do it.
No? Okay.
My daughter is just going, rename yourself, like just in case I might, you know, say something scandalous that might be assigned to her name.
Rachel.
Hold on.
Are we all excited?
Oh my God.
Let's make some noise.
Yes, indeed.
Not starting yet, but just for info, be interesting to see how many managed to join us live, because I had some messages of people saying they'll have to watch the replays, but in total, in theory, we could have up to 79 people.
Wow.
We won't have, because some of them have said they definitely won't. They'll be watching the replays of today, tomorrow, but then they'll join us tomorrow. But so
Luke will be joining us tomorrow, I believe.
I thought he might be joining us today, but I don't know.
Dee hasn't got any sound, she said in the chat box. Have you got your speakers turned on, Dee?
Yeah, if you've not got sound, it must be a problem at your end.
You go to the lower left corner.
Well, if she can't hear you, can you type it in the chat box, somebody? Because obviously if she doesn't have sound, she can't hear it.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. You do have a button on here to check your sound.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Right, okay, I found it. I just had to give it permission. So.
Okay, that'll help.
Have you spotlighted yourself, Alex?
I hope so. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's worked here.
If you look at the top right-hand corner, you'll see there's a button there, so you can change from speaker view or grid view, so you can see everybody if you want to.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm clear. That's good. So, well, I'll be back with you in about 8-9 minutes. At which point then, I will tell everyone to mute themselves. But you're all right at the minute. Here we go. Yeah, okay, that works.
And we've got 23 people in grid view, or there's 24 people now. Someone else has just joined. Welcome, all of you. I'm not the official spokesperson or anything. I'm just mouthy.
Well, no, hey, you're welcome. Please, thank you. You're doing a wonderful job. It's appreciated.
You're very welcome. And it's all part of being a public speaker.
I like your background. It's really, it looks like you're in like a coffee house thing.
Yeah, I can change it. I've got lots of different backgrounds.
Yeah, but you need a green screen for that though, don't you?
You do.
I haven't got a green screen.
You just need one colour, don't you, on the back?
No, don't even need that. This will work.
I've got a mainly plain wall behind me, and it's evenly lit with a big floodlight, which helps a lot.
This one will run a virtual background.
Oh.
If I turn it off, then you'll see what I've really got behind me, which is really naff. It's a mess, but I'll turn it off for a moment if I can work out how to do it. And that's what's really behind me.
Oh, right.
Well, it doesn't look too bad because the camera's quite high.
Yeah, it looks bad
But I've got
behind
some
me.
scary ones here.
Oh, yeah.
And I can even show you this one's scary. That's my brain scan. That's a good brain on the left. This is my brain on the right, or is that on the left? I'm not sure.
It's the left to us because
I've had a bit of a head injury. That's why I look so stupid.
Stu, change it.
Which do you like that one or do you like this one?
The coffee shop was the best one.
Yeah, I think the coffee shop one.
Coffee shop. Was this one?
No, that's it.
You like that one? All right.
Do you want to say hello to Dada's? This is Ashley. This is Alex's Jonathan's daughter. There's Papa.
Hi.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
I've lost my screen now. Where's it gone?
Ashley.
Hi. There's Uncle Papa. She wanted to see, and she was like hanging around, so I said she could look.
I missed that. Who wanted to see?
Oh, that was Ashley. Come back. There you go, Ash.
Hello, Ashley.
This is Ashley.
What a pretty little lady she is.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you going?
Yeah.
Yes. She's bored now.
So Ashley's got her own Zoom room, has she?
Oh, that's a lot better now, Alex.
Cool.
Yeah, she's been doing all her. She's like theatre kid, so she does all her classes online.
Right.
So that's why she had. It said Ashley.
Yeah, fine.
I like it.
Place to print out materials, does anybody
Oh,
know?
that's Barry's. Can we give,
Yeah, I can see that, Alex.
it's only for a minimal second. It's me that matters.
Is there printout material for this course?
Yeah.
Where's my Skype? Let's turn that off because otherwise my girlfriend is bound to interrupt. Got a way of doing that. Where are you, Skype?
53. Yeah.
You don't want her.
7 minutes, apparently. I've told people we're starting at 8 on the dot, and we are doing. So if anyone needs a last-minute toilet trip, now will be the time, because we won't be having a break until just around 9:30, when we'll have a 15-minute break. That's right.
Oh, Darren, yours is cool.
Video camera recording, that'd be a good idea.
If anybody wants to say hello before Alec comes on, then unmute yourself and let us know who you are. Don't be shy.
You remember?
Oh yeah, that is cool.
Which
Right.
is cool.
Oh, Darren Lee's background being a hypno spiral.
I'm about middle there and I'm about middle there. That's good. Okay. That's me.
I see we've renamed you Rachel.
Yeah, not Ashley.
Fantastic.
Hey guys, I'm Sean from
Darren
St.
Lee,
Louis,
looks like
USA.
you've got the time tunnel background. If you remember that, if you're as old as me, you might remember that program.
Is the printout materials?
I think that's going to do my head in, Darren, looking at that.
Sorry,
No, it's all right. Don't change it. This is fabulous.
I can change it. No worries.
No need. Don't do that for me.
I think the winner of our up at the latest or earliest time at the moment looking is JT from Hong Kong.
Wow.
Wow, well done.
See, about 4 a.m. in the morning off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's about that there.
Yeah, it's actually just before 4 here, but actually Japan, not Hong Kong, Alex.
Japan, sorry, somebody booked today from Hong Kong, but I don't think they're in the room yet, so well done. You're the furthest at the minute.
You're a stage hypnotist, aren't you, JT?
Just
Yes,
do it.
I started out doing therapy, and then a few years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I didn't really have that many clients way over here, right? And so I'm like, how do I get more clients? And my friend is like, well, go do stage shows. I'm like, yeah, right. And that was 2014. I went and did a free show, and I haven't turned back because every time I do a show, I get therapy clients too.
I did, I was asked to do it. I've never done stage before, but I was asked to do my name was picked out of a hat back in March, and they asked me to do a 12-minute speech on anything. So I did some stage. I'd never done it before, and I'd never done hypnosis in front of an audience before. And the audience loved it, and it got me a client out of the audience. That was good.
Exactly.
And I asked for the most difficult person in the audience, someone who couldn't be hypnotized. And she went straight under. It was really easy. And
I love skeptics. Don't you love skeptics?
What'd you say, JT?
Yeah, skeptics are always the best because half of them are scared, and that's why they're skeptics. But they're a perfect client.
Well, she wasn't scared. She was willing to be hypnotized, but she thought she couldn't be hypnotized. And but it was great fun because before I did her, I got them all hypnotizing each other. I had them all facing each other and looking into each other's eyes and all that kind of stuff. And I could have hypnotized the whole audience if I wanted to. It was great fun, and I wished I had more than 12 minutes. And I had her standing there in front of me, and I changed her name to George, and all the audience were saying, "Your name's Valerie," and she's saying, "No, it's not, it's George." And she was freaked out because I didn't know her boyfriend's name was George, and she thought that I was a mind reader.
Actually, I would say that to anybody here. From what you're going to learn from Alex today, I mean, I don't know exactly, in the next few days, he's going to be teaching all different kinds of techniques. Don't be afraid to use them in different places. I mean, I was, for the longest time, I was just doing therapy, and I didn't even consider walking in front of a group of people to do this, but it's a lot of fun, and the pay is good, and you get more clients too. So, you know, it's a win-win. Everybody has fun. Go for it.
Now, when I say I've not done it in front of an audience before, I've done it when I've been out and about and people say, "Oh, so you're a hypnotist, show me," and I have. And that's been a lot of fun. I've done it in the street when people see me with my Hypnosis t-shirt on. That's a great way of picking up clients.
Audio, yes. Recording, audio.
Right, just before you start, Alex,
Yeah.
a couple of admin things. First of all, Miranda, don't know if she can still hear us properly or if she's got her sound set now. But I'd suggest closing everything else down on the computer. It's like to be a resource issue at your end, Miranda.
Yeah, I got my Zoom, the meeting, I started it on my laptop and that didn't work.
Right.
So now I went back to my phone again and that works. Now
right, guys, if you literally shut everything else down on your laptops, because resources will take up issues with your sound. And there's a question for you before you start, Alex, from Sean G. Is there a printout? Are there printout materials for this course?
Yeah, I'll explain all that shortly.
Right, okay. Just thought I'd deal with that now before you started, safe.
And if we all mute ourselves, that would help too, I think.
Yeah, we're just sitting out, so if everyone can mute themselves. I'm sure there's a way I can do it, but I don't know how.
Literally control them, I believe, but probably best that you do it on a trust system.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, yeah. We'll go on the basis that hopefully everyone has muted themselves. If I suddenly hear anyone else, I'll just have to tell them to mute, as it were. I'll just get myself roughly central in terms of the screen here before we begin. In fact, I've got 40 seconds according to my watch till 8 o'clock, so we will start precisely on time, as will be the case tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday as well. We will have a break at around 9:30. I say around, it might be 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, but whenever we do have the break, we're 15 minutes straight, and then I'll be starting on time, 15 minutes from us, going for a break, which obviously I'll tell you when that break time is, although the clue will be I'll not be stood here anymore at that moment. So, okay, I make it 10 seconds till 8 o'clock. No doubt other people will join us as they do, so I might have to tell people to be quiet at some point. Fear not, before we start, I will explain a couple of things. Firstly, if for any reason Zoom goes down, or goes down for you, or home as it were, if it goes down for me, I'll immediately try and get back on it. And if for some reason that doesn't work, I will then go to the Stay at Home and Hypnotize Facebook group and start up Facebook Live there. But this hopefully will not be necessary. We should be fine here on Zoom. Same applies for you. If you're at home, if you lose it, go out and try and come back into the meeting. But do not fear, this is also being videoed, not just on the Zoom platform, but by a camera that I have got actually in the room with me as well as audio that I've got in my pocket, hence you see the little mic. And the audio and video files of today will go into the group, fingers crossed, some point tomorrow's, by about early afternoon UK time. And then Fridays will be in the group Saturdays will be in there Sundays will be in there some point on Monday, if that makes sense for anybody who needs to catch up. In terms of the stuff that was mentioned on the sales letter you responded to, the $297 package, which includes the video trainings, the audios, the scripts in PDF training manuals, professionally designed logos for Complete Mind Therapy and Cured, which is complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress, together with access to getting your diplomas for those and your memberships to the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, which incorporates the Association of Complete Mind Therapists, ACMT. All of that is in one place on selfie.com, where it retails at $297. What I've done is I've put in the announcement section, so that's the pinned announcements. So when you go into the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group, later on after today's training, or at any point over the next few days, click where it says announcements, and one of them says, here's the link for Selfie, and it gives you a discount voucher code, which I'm not going to say on camera, because there's only you that have attended the event live that will get use of that discount code, which you put in to the shopping cart on Selfie, and it reduces the price by 100%. So that then you can download the zip file. So you will need free zip file software you can get on Google for free to open it. It's got all the videos, audios, PDF scripts, and all the details of how to qualify for and get your diplomas once you pass the exam that we'll do on Sunday, or once you've done the exam via the replays of the videos from Sunday. So having said all that, that's all the boring stuff. The only other boring thing I need to say up front is that in the announcement section in Stay at Home and Hypnotize the group, when you go in there after today's training, there is a limited time opportunity. The only time I'm going to mention this now today, the limited time opportunity to take basically the world's most advanced comprehensive hypnosis career success training package for therapy stage for absolutely bloody every area there is. If you've ever heard of it under some fancy name from somebody else, I guarantee you it's taught in the boot camp. It's self-explanatory, but look at the announcements in the group when you get a chance, and you'll see that you've got a chance until midnight next Wednesday to get in the boot camp for life. Most of the people on this already are in the boot camp. So if you get a chance after today's training to let group members know what a ridiculous no-brainer this is, when I say that instead of the $5,000 lifetime membership fee, anyone on this event can get in for the lowest it's ever been offered, which is a single one-time payment of only $197. So that's it. No more sales pitchy stuff from me. Let's start learning. So good evening or good morning or afternoon, depending on where in the world you are joining us. Thank you for the fact that I know that all with us, guaranteed. I had a quick look earlier, all of the laptops over there. We've got people here from America, different states in America. We've got people from Canada. We've got people from Hong Kong, Singapore. I'm not sure if we've been joined yet by the gentleman from China, but somebody's booked from there. Europe, we've pretty much got covered. We've got people booked from New Zealand, Australia. Basically, the world is represented either here or by people who are members of the group who will see the replay. So it's great to be with you. Hopefully my computer won't do that too often, and I will sort it out before tomorrow. It's nothing to do with Zoom. Just ignore it. Excellent. Right, so for those who do not know, those who are in the boot camp, you have to bear with me for the next 20 minutes. Some of this will be old news to you. For those who are not, which is roughly about 50%, and as a refresher for other people, why do I feel qualified to be able to teach you in effectively 12 hours, because we're having 2 90-minute sessions a day for the next 4 days, which is a total of 12 hours. Why am I audacious enough to claim that even if you're a complete beginner with no prior knowledge or experience, that at the end of these 4 days, you will be a confident, and more importantly, competent, safe, legal, ethical, and highly effective mind therapy practitioner, and if you should so desire, with a little bit of tweaking and additional study, you could also take it over into the entertainment realm if you so desired. The reason I say with a bit of extra study for that is because there's certain things for that. As we go along, I'll teach you a lot of it, but there's certain things I physically can't because we're not together, so you'd have to get a friend round and practice certain things, but that'll become clear as we go over these things over the next few days. Well, the reason I believe it's possible and that I am able to do that for you is for a few reasons, okay? This is going to sound incredibly arrogant, so I apologise if it comes across and sounds that way, but the simple fact of the matter is, this is, and I've just remembered I need to look at the webcam, not at the camera that's in this room. So don't worry, peeps, I will start getting the hang. I will look the right way so it looks like I'm looking at you. Yeah, what the reasons are as follows, okay? It's going to sound incredibly arrogant, but this is true. Don't take my word for it. You can go on my website, magicalguru.com, and there are links that will take you to places where you can check this out. And in a nutshell, it's this. The simple fact is I have evidence to prove that currently I have taught more people around the world who are currently trading and earning their living successfully as a hypnotherapist than any other living hypnosis trainer on the planet today. Fact, sounds arrogant. I defy anyone else on the planet to disprove that, because I have got literally tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of testimonials on file that back that up, as well as the fact of proof of sales records from the past almost 30 years to millions of people around the world. I have also arguably, well not arguably, factually taught more people who are currently working professional stage hypnotists, appearing on television, appearing in 5-star cruise ship shows, in theatres and mass capacity venues around the world, including people who've had their own television shows, than any other living trainer of stage hypnosis on the planet today. Notice I stressed the living part, because I'm not claiming to necessarily have taught more people than Ormond McGill did when he was alive. But there again, you've got to bear in mind that I'm currently only 44 years of age. And, you know, best part of 30 years I've been doing this, a good 25 years of that I've been teaching people. But Ormond was teaching people, you know, for a good 50, 60 years. That's why I stress living hypnosis trainer before people try and pull me up on that point. So I hope that, and you can go and check this, go on magicalguru.com, click on where it's got testimonials, check out the people. They're not nameless testimonials, they're testimonials from people where there's links to their websites. You can see who they are. These include television name hypnotists and life coaches. Again, I'm telling you this not because I want to brag, Not because I want to sell you anything, because there's nothing that you need to buy at the end of these 4 days. There might be the odd thing you want to, but nothing that you need to, because this is the complete training. I'm telling you because I want you to realise that I truly, sincerely and genuinely mean what the advert said, that by the end of these 4 days, you will be in a position to arguably be more competent than pretty much the vast majority of so-called hypnotherapists who weren't at some point taught by me. Yes, that means I'm categorically saying that 95% or more of hypnotherapy trainers are full of shit and are crap at what they do, and that may even include people who've taught you before. If that offends you or upsets you, now's the time to fuck off. This isn't the training for you. But if you do fuck off, you don't get a refund, because the guarantee does say you've got to attend all the training. And if you do, as much as it will upset you, some of this, as much as I'm sure some of this will rattle your cage, have you shouting at the screen going, Royal, Alex, whatever you want to call me, you're a cunt. And yes, we will use language a lot worse than that over the next 4 days. And if you don't like it, then this isn't the place for you. If you don't like it, fuck your chances of being a really competent therapist. Because let me tell you something up front before I tell you what. I am the person who's going to teach you more than anyone else ever has or ever bloody will. Well, let me tell you this. If you want results with your clients, if you want to pussyfoot around telling them that they're floating on air on clouds and that they're walking in forest and all that kind of shit, good fucking luck to you. But guess what? You're never going to have the success rates I have and my students have who use what you're going to learn over the next 4 days, because that's the shit way of doing it. The effective way of doing it, which most hypnotherapy societies and most hypnotherapy trainers will probably tell you means that what I'm teaching you is unethical or immoral. No, that's bullshit. Because my definition of ethics, and let's get this out of the way up front, is that from a therapeutic point of view, when a client comes to you, it's your job to get them the desired outcome and result they require, whether that's to quit smoking, lose weight, gain confidence, overcome a phobia or whatever, in the fastest space of time possible. In other words, if it's possible for you to do that in 1 session, and you're currently a therapist who strings things out over several sessions, and I'd say you're the one who's unethical and immoral. Now, you may not think that, you may be shouting at the screen, you may genuinely, sincerely think that your way's better. You're wrong, and I'll explain why over the next 4 days. And this computer's starting to fuck me off. It normally does this about 6 times, and then it stops and doesn't do it again for about the rest of the day. So just ignore that. The point is that your client requires an outcome. And if it's possible to get that in 1 session, you should be doing that for several reasons. A, because then when they go away and their life's changed and they tell other people that their life was changed and that you only saw them for 1 session, it seems more, hopefully that's the last time, more miraculous, more amazing, more powerful, okay? In other words, it makes you look better than all the other therapists who've got on their website. It's going to be 2 sessions, 3 sessions, or quite a whole lot of bloody sites say, on average 6 sessions. What the fuck are they doing for 6 sessions? They must literally be sat there talking shite or mind raping their clients, getting them to repeat over and over again the traumatic shit they've gone through in their life for no particularly beneficial therapeutic purpose whatsoever, despite what they may have been taught by whoever taught them incorrectly in the first place. So, yeah, this is really going to offend a lot of you over the next few days. It's really going to, this will get sorted tomorrow because I will get my wife to sort it. So she'd probably have to wipe my computer and start it again. But anyway, look, another reason why I categorically say that as outrageous some of the stuff I'm going to teach you is the best way of doing it, is because ethically and morally, as long as you are giving the client what they want in the quickest way possible without them encountering any emotional, physical, psychological, spiritual, if you want to add that into the equation, or any other form of harm or damage of any kind, as long as they're not experiencing anything negative long term, then really, to be ethically right in helping them as quickly as you can, but not just so it's, you know, they've got a result there and then it wears off. Or symptom substitution occurs where they stop smoking and they start eating too much instead, or biting their fingernails instead. No, that would be equally as bad. But using the techniques I'm going to teach you, you'll be able to get the results in one session the vast majority of the times, because nothing on this planet exists that works 100% of the time with 100% of the people. And anyone who tells you that is a bullshitter. But the vast majority of the time, and I will teach you the ways to increase that percentage factor so it's almost 100% of the time with almost 100% of the people. You'll be able to get results in one session that are long lasting, do not result in any form of symptom substitution, and do not wear off, you know, down the line, or relapse, as it gets called in certain areas of therapy. And the way you're going to do this is by using the most severe, shocking, sometimes horrible, painful, disturbing, and emotionally gut-wrenching at times visual imagery and verbal linguistics, as you will see when we come to those points, either later today or more likely tomorrow. Because today is all about foundations. Tomorrow is about more so actual techniques, although we will later on cover a couple of techniques. This is more about you've got to get into the mindset and understand where I'm coming from, so that tomorrow when you learn the techniques and over the couple of days after that, I won't need to explain them, you know, for days and days for one technique, because you'll already understand the building blocks that all of the techniques are built upon. And that is why I also say that when you've studied correctly and learned correctly, you don't need to become one of these sleepwalking fuckwits that's in hypnotherapy groups asking random questions like, oh, I've got a client booked in coming tomorrow for such XYZ problem. How do you think I should help them? If you're asking those kind of questions on groups, you're a fuckwit. Because the fact is, you know what that says? It says you weren't taught properly. Because if you were taught properly, you would know how to deal with literally anything and everything you could ever get presented with from A through to Z, or A through to Z for our American friends. Because the techniques remain remarkably similar or the same. All you need is some common sense, which sadly isn't that common, as you can see in the hypnosis groups by the number of people asking simple bloody questions like that. The level of training out there is shite. By the end of these 4 days, I'm guaranteeing you should never need to ask anyone ever how to deal with a certain problem from A through to Z, because you will have the intelligence in your own head to adapt the complete mind therapy structure that I will teach you tomorrow and over the couple of days after, or the complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress cured structure that I will teach you. They're the two main techniques and structures I'm going to teach you. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other techniques I've used during my career, now and again in certain circumstances, with those, you know, maybe 1 or 2% of clients that didn't get helped in the single session, because there's nothing that works, as I've already said, 100% of the time with 100% of the people. And if we've got time, we'll cover them before the end of the course. But I want to get you to a point where you are more flexible, adaptable, confident, competent, and hugely effective, both as a psychological mind therapist, okay, and as a entertainer or public speaker, if you so decide ever to go down that route, which you know, you may never have thought of doing, but by the end of these 4 days, I hope you will, because I'm going to show you ways in which giving free talks to local groups, whether it's during this COVID crisis and you do it via the internet, via Zoom, Skype, Facebook Live or another platform, or it's when we're out of lockdown and you go to your local round table or whatever. I'm going to show you how to give demonstrations that are guaranteed to work 100% of the time. Yes, I'm going to teach you tricks that are guaranteed to work, so you can look like a master of mind control and hypnosis, so they're dramatically blown off their feet and they're demanding one of your business cards so that they can contact you for either entertainment, if you offer that, or for corporate training, or for stress management, or for helping with their habits. Addictions, fears, phobias, stresses, anxieties, doesn't matter what, whatever you can think of from A through to Z or Z, you will be able to deal with at the end of these 4 days. So, why am I so confident about? Well, let me tell you. By birth, my name is Alex William Smith. I was born on the 13th of August 1975 into a show business family where my parents were travelling with Gandhi's circus here in England. My mum at the time was a sharpshooting, whip tracking, knife throwing, rope spinning cowgirl, Marianne Montana, a stage name, and my dad was doing a circus clown act as Tizzy the Clown, and also a fire eating, bed of nails, ladder of daggers, yogi fakir type, and I said fakir then, I didn't swear, type act under the name The Amazing Etna. And at the age of 3 and a few months, it was the Christmas season, 1978 to be precise, I made my stage debut as Flat the Clown for a Christmas works do. That wasn't on Gandhi's Circus. I made my circus debut on the 1979 summer season for Gandhi's, which I was 4 at the time. And that season, for some reason, I think it was money basically. My dad got offered more money. We left Gandhi's partway through the season briefly to go and do a stint on the Golden Mile in Blackpool, at a time when Blackpool in 1979 truly was the Las Vegas of the North here in England and not the shithole it now is. You've got to remember, look back at this camera. Sorry guys at home, I keep looking at the camera in the room rather than the small little webcam. This is a new experience to me, you see, doing seminars here. I normally have a live audience. So yeah, we were on the Golden Mile in Blackpool for the Paul Daniels, and that's Paul Daniels, the late British magician, who had the catchphrase, "You'll like it, but not a lot, but you'll like it." And a guy had set up this Paul Daniels Magic Museum on the Golden Mile in Blackpool because Paul had just got a television series in England, and well, lots of television appearances were happening. His series hadn't been broadcast by then. And he hired a load of the props and artifacts from Paul Daniels, plus they were playing videos in there. So you walked around, looked at the stuff you've perhaps seen Paul using on TV. There were videos of what he did on screens. And then there'd be a magician in there who demonstrates some tricks and sell them to you. And it was all a monetary making exercise, but they'd employed my dad and me for the front, to work the front, as they call it, to draw in a crowd from the street by giving a spiel, by attracting the crowd. And we did that successfully, and I spent all the money that I was earning with the guy who was selling magic in there. That in later years I found out the guy who had that concept was a guy called Mark Lewis, who's currently residing in Canada, but he's Scottish originally, but he's worked in Ireland, England, around the world, but he currently lives in Canada. And he's made his career massively from selling these magic decks of cards that especially manufactured in a way that enable you to do numerous tricks, called a Svengali deck. And I bought one of these, and as well as getting obviously some tuition from the guy who sold it me, and who later turns out it was Mark Lewis, I was fortunate enough to get input and advice from Mr. Daniels himself, who was doing shows in Blackpool at the time, and obviously had a financial link to the project because he was renting them the stuff. So at a very early age, I was learning about sleight of hand trickery, magic. The hand is quicker than the eye. Ow! Bloody hell, it is. I didn't see that coming. Comedy doesn't work as well just to a camera, you know. It's better when you've got an audience and you can see their face. There's another lesson for you. Anyway, the point is I was learning about this stuff at an incredibly young age. And also was observing and taking in like a sponge, as all kids do from the ages of 0 to 7, the formative years. Kind of like a blank canvas, and we take in everything, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. And that quite often is the root cause of a lot of issues that your clients will have. Remember that, because that's one of the key secrets. Most of their fuck-ups have their root in something that happened before they were 7 years of age, generally speaking. There are exceptions, we'll cover them later on, but generally speaking, remember that golden rule. So, I was learning about sleight of hand and trickery, how to, with words, verbal linguistics, distract people's attention so they didn't see me perhaps remove a card from the deck and place it in my pocket, or using body language so that my gestures would make them look over here, but not in a suspicious, hey, look, there's Father Christmas kind of way that parents do to the kids. No, in a very subtle, so the gentleman over there, what card would you like? And everyone would naturally look over there at that gentleman that I just pointed at and asked the question, and I'm looking at, allowing me, with my left hand, to put most of the playing cards in my pocket, or whatever other dirty work I wanted to do. So I was learning these principles that one action can hide another, or one statement can hide something that you're doing as well. It can be verbal or non-verbal. All of this will become abundantly more clear as the days go on, that I am actually teaching you the key secrets now. You just maybe won't realise how valuable and important these are until you get other pieces of the jigsaw. So, in the circus, I was also learning the fact that some of the things that look really, really, really dangerous were actually relatively safe if they were done in the right manner. Once you knew the secret, it was like, yeah, there's some skill and practice gone in, don't get me wrong, but in actual fact, as long as you do what you practice, you're pretty damn safe, and it just looks incredibly dangerous to the audience. Whereas some of the stuff that looked relatively safe, one little slip, and you could actually be dead. And people have died over the years with things that seemed relatively safe. And that's why the public and the media kind of go, we don't understand what happened. People in the industry obviously know, bloody hell, that unexpected thing occurred, but they've always known that it's dangerous. So it's inverted. Not everything. Some things are genuinely dangerous, such as standing against a board when knives are thrown at you. If the person stood there, it's dangerous. But generally speaking, things are inverted. That's another key here. Things are not always as they appear. I want you to start thinking the way I do, because then it'll make more sense tomorrow, the day after, and the day after. That's what today is about, getting you into my head. So I was growing up, realizing that you could say things and distract attention, you could do things and distract attention, or misdirection, as it's called in the fine art of legerdemain, magic, conjuring. And in later years, I would find that the same is very true for so-called hypnotherapy, stage hypnosis, whatever. They're just labels. Psychological talking therapies or psychological manipulation, entertainment techniques would be a fairer description of what's really going on, as you'll see over the coming days. So I grew up, and at an early age, I went through those things that I said before, from the ages of 0 to 7, formative years, we get scarred or we get empowered by what goes on in our environment. We're all products of our environment. A sick mind fraud, or you may know him better as Sigmund Freud, once famously said. And I was getting bullied because my mum decided when I was about 5 and a bit that she wanted us to stop travelling with the circus full time. My dad would carry on travelling, and that I would just go in the summer holidays, most weekends, and stuff like that, and perform with my dad, but go to a normal school. She came from a normal background. Whereas my dad literally did run away from a normal background to join the circus. Yeah, not a joke, he genuinely did. So I went to a normal school, and obviously I was the odd one out. I was the circus clown's son, and indeed, I was in the Daily Mirror newspaper at the age of 6 with a headline, Alex the Circus 6 hit. And if you look at my website, magicalguru.com, click on the resume page, there's pictures of me there, and that article's there. Obviously, when that went in, the school I was in at the time, I started getting bullied by the teachers, not the kids, the teachers, because ultimately they were jealous. I know that now, but at the time, parents telling you that, oh, they're attacking you because they're jealous, it doesn't help. It doesn't help in the slightest. And that nonsense about sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Bullshit. Names could do more harm than physical attacks, especially during those formative years, 0 to 7. when the brain is like a sponge, like a blank canvas. It can set, if you like, the memory banks of your personal neck-top computer. What programs are running in there are kind of installed before you're 7 years of age, generally, by what you've experienced, observed, and what goes on in your environment, and the way you end up feeling about yourself, which is all very, very, very important, as will become clearer as we go along. So I was getting bullied by the teachers because they were jealous of the fact that I was earning money, good money, as a paid circus clown. You could argue on a per-hour basis. Well, not argue, it'd be fact. Factually speaking, on a per-hour basis, I got paid way more than they did. I didn't go around saying that, but you know, these things got mentioned by the media and stuff. So, you know, I got attacked. We then, because it got so bad, moved to a different town, and I went to a different school. And here, thank God, the teachers were fantastic. They were absolutely fantastic through the rest of primary school. Unfortunately, as I appeared in the newspapers, on the local radio, or on television and stuff growing up, the kids at that school were the ones who then started to bully me. And I'm not going to dwell on this. If you want to learn more, go to the resume page on my website, magicalguru.com, and there's an interview there about all this. But I did try to take my own life shortly before coming to the end of primary school by laying down in the main road that was incredibly busy. And fortunately, what seemed like forever, what was probably only a matter of 30 seconds, which can seem like an eternity when there's nothing going on. I got bored and fed up and thought there's no traffic coming, so I stood up and it was pitch black at night, and I walked back towards the pavement, and suddenly trucks and cars started speeding by, and it was like literally a matter of a split second. Otherwise I wouldn't have been here. So later on, whether it's today or tomorrow, when I categorically tell you that I'm speaking from direct first-hand experience, that even in the most extreme of circumstances, what I'm going to tell you works and are the underlying keys to why and how these things work. Just remember, I've been there. I've had numerous near fatal life-death situations around the age of 4 and a bit, approaching 5 this year. Was ripped off by a puma. Yes, a puma as in a wild cat that was on the circus. It was my fault. I hid under a caravan playing hide and seek, and the lion tamers, carefully chained up, baby puma attacked me. And had I not been found in the nick of time, I would have been dead. But to this day, I've got claw marks, scars on my back, all down the back of my ear, on my head as well. Lucky to be alive. Don't tell you that for sympathy. I tell you because the fact is that anything I talk about that appears flippant later on today or tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday, if I talk about things related to death, suicide, or anything like that, yes, I will do in what may appear a very offensive, a very flippant manner. And some of you that will upset and piss off. And frankly, I don't give a fuck for 2 reasons. One, because the fact it will upset you or shake you internally, emotionally, rattle your cage, will mean you will remember absolutely, positively and permanently everything that I'm going to teach you. You might not like remembering it at first, but when you remember it in that moment, you need to use it, and you use it, and you find it works exactly as I've guaranteed you it will, then you'll suddenly go, and any of those feelings of, I feel uncomfortable about that, will just fly out the window like that. And you'll feel completely at ease and confident and calm and happy to continue using those techniques, because you will know with every nerve, fiber, tissue and muscle in your body, from the tips of your toes to the tips of your fingers and everywhere in between, that they work, and they work for the good reason. And one of those good reasons is because they will emotionally shake you to the core, but with a positive outcome, and more importantly, with a positive intent. My intent over the next 4 days, today and the next 3, is to teach you the essence of what has enabled me for the past 30 years, since the age of 14, coming there in a minute, to have an incredibly successful career. You're all capable of this as well, especially when you know how I did it, and you will do. So, I got bullied down by the kids, tried to take my life. I then grew to resent being a circus clown. So I'd already started to learn more and more about magic and sleight of hand. So I started to rebel against my dad. I refused to perform as a circus clown, and I started doing magic and illusion. Rabbits out of hats, producing doves, magic tricks. Because that way, I was not doing what my dad had forced me into when I was young, because I really didn't have a choice when I was tiny. But I was still performing. And the key to that was, by that point, I'd become conditioned. I'd associated the sound of an audience clapping or laughing at the right times. Ha 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 ha. Laughter at the right times or clapping. That appreciation as making me feel worthy. And that had become what would be called in therapy anchored. An anchored connection linked together. Audiences laugh and applaud. I've done good, I feel good, I'm worthy. So I still had that need because I was getting bullied. So I felt unworthy and worthless in that environment. So I needed, and this links in with a thing called state-dependent memory, learning and behavior, SDMLB. State-dependent memory, learning and behavior. And that is that, you know, the environment, the context, everything around you when you do a certain thing is all part of the sensory experience that gets logged into your memory bank, your computer. And they become the triggers, the activating agents, the buttons that get pressed that cause you, for example, to crave nicotine or alcohol or drugs, because those triggers come up again that were there. So it's all well and good, you know, that's why certain therapies don't work for people. It's because, yes, they may have dealt with all the conscious shit, but the actual triggers and stuff haven't been dealt with. The things that those people only experience or react to when they're in that kind of environment or in that state of mind, of memory, of learned, conditioned behavior. You've got to get your clients into the same kind of emotional state, memory state, learned state, anchored state, conditioned state, call it what you will, as that which caused the problems in order to positively, permanently and rapidly break down all the connections in a way that they can be replaced with positive things so that the person no longer has that issue. That may sound very simplistic, but you'll see as we go along that it is truly that simple, and I'll show you how to do it when we get into complete mind therapy and cured. So, you may have also guessed I keep going off on tangents. That is not so much me doing what is known in NLP as magic stories or nested loops or anything like that, where you start off one story and then you go off on a tangent to another, so people are left wondering about the answer to this one, and then you stack up a load of them and then you go back at the end and give the answers to them all, so that person, you, the audience, gets a feeling of closure and satisfaction of, oh yeah, I know that now, yeah, that makes sense. I'm not doing it for that purpose. There will be elements of that taking place, but that's not why I'm doing it. It's just purely and simply that I go off on one. But we will get, all of it will link together by the end of that, I assure you. So, about the age of 14, well, I was a little bit before the age of 14, I saw an advertisement. I'll come back to that actually, because I survived the suicide attempt, and I thought I need to do something to sort my head out. And I was going in the adult library by this time because the kids' magic books were pretty shit, and I'd far advanced them. And where the magic books were, in the sports and pastime section of the library, right next to them on the shelf, were the self-help and personal development books. And I saw a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's an excellent book, but don't take it too literally, especially not if you're a kid. But let me tell you, using those techniques, taking them too literally, as they're portrayed and taught in the book, as a kid, it gets you attacked and bullied more. And if you go into a pub and take it too literally and start calling somebody by their first name, every other bloody sentence calling them by their first name, it comes across as you're being overly too familiar, friendly, creepy, and you're likely to get punched in the face. So you have to use a certain amount of common sense. But I did read that book. It didn't particularly help. But then I saw a book on hypnotherapy there, and that's where I learned about NLP, an amazing guy who devised the power of positive affirmations. Well, he didn't devise it. They've existed since biblical days and before, but, you know, that's where he carved his niche, as it were. And he's best known probably for the saying, day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. And the idea that saying that to yourself 3 times when you wake up first thing in the morning, when you haven't fully woken up, you just open your eyes, so you're still arguably in that halfway between awake and asleep state, arguably hypnosis, 3 times during the middle of the day, and 3 times just before you go to sleep when you're a bit tired. Doing that on a regular daily basis would reprogram your personal laptop computer with amazing results. And studies have been done to prove that that is indeed the case. But one other thing he put across is what they call in NLP, well, what they say as, what resists, persists. You get more of what you focus on. MLQA, this was coined it as the law of reversed effort. So for example, Yoda is a good example. He says, I'm not going to do a Yoda impression because frankly I can't. But he says, do or do not. There is no try. Unless, and Yoda's right, if you try to do something, you're likely to fail because your mind wraps around that idea that you're going to try to do it, which means you're giving to yourself the suggestion and entertaining the possibility of failure, which is why you will see stage hypnotists go on the count of 3, just try to separate your hands. The more you try, the more they stick, lock, glue, weld, cement together. It's because that word try gives the suggestion, the possibility, the doubt, the thought that they could fail. And that seed's planted, grows and becomes reality for the majority of people. So I thought I'd try this out. The next time the school bully, and this was at high school, came up and pinned me against the wall by my throat with one hand and was about to hit me, I went, whoa, hang on a minute. I said, hang on a minute. Don't hit me yet, but when you do, make sure it's bloody good, okay? This time, try and be better than you've been when you've hit me over the previous days. Go on, just try and do it now. But I figured I had sod all to lose, because that tiny bit of me thought, well, if it doesn't work, I was going to get hit anyway, so what? And he ended up just looking at me with this like, what the fuck? That's what I imagine his internal chatter was saying. What the fuck is this nut job going on about? And he suddenly just kind of let go of me, went off and turned and then looked at me again weird like, has that really just happened? Told me to fuck off and just never attacked me again. Genuinely true story. There were other people who did. That didn't work on quite so well, so I'm not telling you it works 100% of the time. But the point is, in certain contexts, when you've got absolutely fuck all to lose, you may as well try something. And you know what, when you do, and you do it with conviction, and confidence, and with a literal, who gives a fuck? Literally get to the point where it's either going to work or it doesn't. So you're not at all personally scared. You're not at all personally worried or anxious or concerned. And that will come across in your body language. You'll be chilled, relaxed, non-verbally. Your clients or your stage volunteers will think, this guy really doesn't give a shit. He knows he's good. It's like, it's an unwritten vibe. You could argue it's an energy, if you want to get into the lucky juju, mystical, new age, tree huggy type shite, which we will at some point. So yeah, remember that. And when I saw the power of that, I thought, I want to learn more about hypnosis properly. My logic, because as I was brought up through the education system, or as it should be better known, the indoctrination system, because that's what happens at schools. They don't really educate you as such. They teach you to learn stuff so that when you do exams, you repeat the answers they want you to in the way they want you to do. So you've learned to obey authority figures. That's essentially what's really happening. But that's, at the time, what I believed was the right thing to do. So I figured at that time that I needed a piece of paper. I needed a certificate of some kind. Ooh, on my wall, something that said I knew what I was doing. That's what I thought. So I saw in a British publication called the Exchange of Mart newspaper an advert for the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, the APHP. And quickly, for those who are thinking, that sounds familiar, that sounds like the Society Terence Watts of the Essex Institute of Clinical Hypnosis in England runs. Well, let me tell you, he's a copyright thief. Yes, he's got a trademark on APHP. That's only because I haven't had it revoked from him yet, because I'm not the complete cunt everyone thinks I am. However, if he ever bothers to send me another solicitor's letter, I will have his trademark revoked, because I've got on file from the mid-90s a copy of his cheque where he paid the Mind Care Organisation UK Limited for my correspondence complete mind therapy course, qualified in this from the Mind Care Organisation and yours truly, and became a member of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists as legally owned, copyright-wise, by me. But it wasn't set up by me, it was set up by a guy called Dr. Brian Howard. And as I say, he had an advert in the Exchange of Mart business opportunity section. So I sent off my stamped addressed envelope to get the prospectus. I got it, I looked, and this was in early 1989. I was still 13, about 13 and a half at the time. And the correspondence course prospectus came, and it said that for the princely sum of £125, United Kingdom sterling, so current exchange rate, as we do this in May 2020, that's roughly about 140 United States dollars, but this was back in 1989 to put it in perspective, okay? So that was a lot of money by anyone's, reasonable amount of money by anyone's standards, and certainly, as I was only 13 and a bit, should have been, but I was earning money from magic shows and stuff, so I sent off the 125 quid. And I promise you, some of you now are probably sat there drinking your lager. Reminds me, I'll have a sip. Cheers, everybody. Or your coffee or your whatever, thinking, when the fuck will he stop talking about himself and start teaching us? Well, if you are thinking that, let me tell you, you're a fuckwit and you need to wake up, start listening and start paying attention. Because every single word I said from the start of us starting at 8 o'clock, every single word is being said for a purpose, and that one purpose is for you to end up knowing the key secrets, techniques and reasons of how and why CMT cured, and indeed any form of psychological talking mind therapy, under any fancy title, brand it may be given by anyone else, I will have taught you by the end of the 4 days how and why it works. If you pay attention, you'll start seeing the bits of the jigsaw slotting into place, or you will. So, what happened? I'm looking at this camera again, I want to look at this one. I apologise, people at home, this is new to me. I normally play to one camera with a red light on in a TV studio. If there's several TV cameras, you switch to the one with the red light on at the time that the red lights change, generally in the live studio scenario, that I've done a load of over the years. Again, that sounds like bragging, it's not, as you'll see as time goes on. Because I've done these things that I can tell you the truth. The fact is, most of the hypnotherapy trainers out there, there's a few exceptions, such as Tom Silver in America, a good friend of mine, who's done hundreds and hundreds of TV shows like I have around the world. There's a few trainers that fall into that category, but most of them haven't. And if they've not done TV shows, if they've not consistently hypnotized people on the radio in the circumstances that are demanded by that, if they've not consistently had to do stuff for newspapers and magazines where they're put on the spot, if they've not consistently had to do stage shows or public demonstrations from corporate blue chip companies for people like Richard Branson's Virgin Group, which I've done in Barbados and around the world, or down to the lowest little round table in your local town. If they've not done it, How can they truly, and they do, they'll stand there and say they're trying to teach you, but when they're teaching you stuff they've learned out of books or from other people's courses, they don't have a fucking clue, most of them, what they're talking about, because they've never been there and done it. Most hypnotherapy trainers, most hypnotherapists, sadly, couldn't even hypnotise this way out of a fucking wet paper bag with a room full of people who'd taken a load of sleeping pills and were in lovely warm double beds at the time with eye masks on. They wouldn't have a fucking clue, most of them. That's why you see it in the groups. I will regularly slag off people. And if you're offended by it at home, that's probably because you fall into that category. Hopefully by the end of this 4 days, you won't be upset by the things I'm saying because you won't fall into that category. That's the positive point. I'm looking at that camera again. I will get over that by the end of today's session. So, what arrived through the post? I'll tell you what arrived for my £125 sterling, roughly 140 US dollars, back in 1989, around March 1989, I recall it being. I got the grand total of 3. Oh yes, 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 90-minute audio cassette tapes. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. The younger ones amongst you may not remember what an audio cassette tape is. You have only ever seen compact discs and MP3 digital downloads. But cassette tapes, they were about this big, and you had to put them in a cassette player machine. Anyway, there were 3 of them, 90 minutes long each, so that's like the 2 sessions we're doing today and the first one tomorrow. So 3 of the sessions, whereas over these 4 days you're getting 8 90-minute sessions, which means you're getting almost triple what I had on those 3 90-minute audio cassette tapes. That's very important for the reason that will become clear in a minute. I also got with it a 67-page A4, so A4 UK size paper is about yon big in relation to my head. 57 pages of that was typed in double-spaced, roughly, I think it was about 14-point text. So, in truth, it would have probably fitted on about 50 sheets of A4 had it been spaced differently. Yeah? I listened to the 4.5 hours of audio from those 3 audio cassettes. I read the 67 pages. I then completed the exam paper, which conveniently had been sent with everything, and they didn't ask for the tapes in the book to be sent back first. So I copied the answers out of the book or listened to the tapes again to make sure that I got the right answers. I then sent this back. I lied about my age, said I was 18, because even I was intelligent enough to know that if I said I was 13 at the time, when I got it, they'd go, no. And a few weeks later, that was towards the end of March. I think I submitted it towards the end of April when I got round to it. About the end of May, I got notified that successfully I'd passed. And that now I was a member of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists, and also the Association of Professional Stage Hypnotists, because I forgot to mention that this course taught you stage hypnosis and hypnotherapy with just 3 90-minute audio cassettes and a 67-page A4 manual. I kid you not. So I got my certificates. I'm very much Wizard of Oz style, you know. This wasn't the one that came, but I got a certificate, so I'm like, oh, brilliant, I've now got this. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Suddenly, because I've got the piece of paper, I've now been given a seal of approval by this perceived authority figure, the trainer. So I must know what I'm doing, so I can be confident to go out there. Now, I had a little bit of an advantage, I admit, because I was already a performer, and I'd already done magic and had dealings with the media. But what I ultimately did, well, the first thing I did was that as soon as I hit my 14th birthday, I contacted Brian Howard and I said, hey, Brian, I've got a confession I lied. I'm not 18. I was 13 and a bit. I'm now 14. Yeah, sorry. What are we going to do about this? And ultimately, he got back to me and said, well, the fact is you passed the exam. Spoke to me at length on the phone. He said, you seem to know what you're doing. And he sent me a new certificate, and that one had my proper date of birth on, which you can see in the Diplomas album that you can get to by clicking on photos on my Facebook profile, facebook.com/Alex the Hypnotist. And he sent me one with my correct date of birth and age on. and I became the youngest ever member of the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists. And I was so impressed by the company, as I will explain very shortly, that in later years I literally bought it like Victor Kayan did with the razors. Well, I bought the rights, and by the mid-90s I owned the copyright on the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Parapsychologists and the Association of Professional Hypnotherapists and Psychotherapists. He had two uses for the acronyms, the letters. And that concludes that nested loop, which we're not doing, but it concludes one if we were. So yeah, now I'm a diploma-bearing hypnotherapist. So what is any sane 14-year-old who's lied about their age going to do, but now being given permission to carry on? They're going to put away the diploma that says they're 14 on it, and take the one that says they're 18 and go and lie to the local and regional media to start with. Of course, because I knew that even though APHP were happy, and that may have been a nice publicity stunt to say I was the youngest member, I thought 14 was a bit too young. Had I been 16, I would have gone for the youngest member publicity angle, but instead I went for the local hypnotherapist, you know, local boy, just turned 18, has become a diploma-bearing hypnotherapist. He's one of the youngest in the country because he started studying before he was even 18. Because I wanted a bit of credibility with the readers. I wanted them to think that it was feasible, that I'd be able to help them. Because their perception, the client's perception, is the most important thing by far. If they believe that you are the person who will change their life as quickly as that, then you are the best person for that. Simple as. So your job is more of selling them the belief, an idea and reality that you are the person who can pull that light bulb string or click your fingers and change their life. And when they truly, sincerely, genuinely believe that and buy into it on all levels, psychologically, emotionally, and financially, then 99% of your job's done. Honestly. Now, I went to the local newspaper. I took my diploma with me. It wasn't this one, but I took one with me so that they could take a picture of me holding it all cheesily like, eee, which I know is a shit picture, but it's the kind of cheese that local newspapers like. And I said to them, look, I want to offer your readers a free hypnotherapy session, free, for the first 50 readers that call me up. And I gave them my telephone number. They ran an article with a picture. The picture is often the story. That's a key phrase. Any story that's got a picture with it is more likely to get in. If you live locally to the paper, then it's a local interest story. If you're offering something for their readers that costs them nothing but benefits their readers, it's more likely to get in as well. So they ran this, and my phone rang red hot for several days. And I know what you're thinking. How do you make any money when you're doing it for free? Well, the answer is that back then, I was following the model that was in the APHP manual, which was the idea of doing 2 sessions. Okay? I only do 1 session these days, but I'm telling you how I started so you know the full picture, full disclosure. It was 2 sessions. So when they rang, I would say, yeah, excellent. Oh, you want to claim the free session that you've seen in the Rochdale Observer or Hayward Advertiser? Rochdale Express, it actually was the first paper that did it. Done this scam with various papers. Sorry, not scam. Marketing and publicity promotional exercise, if you prefer those words, if they sit better with you. So the people would ring up, I say, yeah, of course you're entitled to your free session. Now it's normally, and back then, remember, it was 1989. I'd say that a session is normally £50 sterling. Now, to put this in perspective, most hypnotherapists in the Rochdale area back in 1989 were charging about £30 to £35 UK, United Kingdom sterling a session. I'd already learned from magic marketing stuff that if you priced yourself higher, it meant 2 things. Number 1, you had perceived value that there must be a reason why you're charging more, which must mean you're better. Number 2, it means that you can offer discounts and make people feel they're getting a saving. Whereas if you start off too low, you've got nowhere to go, have you? So I said, yeah, sessions are normally £50. However, that's £50 and we have to have 2 of them, so that's £100 total. However, you've got your free session that was offered by the paper, so that brings it down to £50. And in fact, if you book today, I will charge you just 30 quid for that second session of the treatment, and I'll throw in a free backup audio cassette tape that normally costs an additional £20, so you're actually saving a grand total of £90 on what that would all totally normally cost you. And I converted pretty much 9 out of 10 people that called on that, because they felt like they were getting a free session and a discount on the session that they were paying for, and a free gift of the backup audio tape. Whereas the truth is, the end result is I ended up with literally well over 100 clients booked in within 3 days of this going to print that were paying me £30 sterling each. Yes, I had to see them twice, so that meant I was only getting £15 a session. But given that some therapists in the area were charging as little as £25, and they'd been at it for 20, 30 or more years, and I truly was, although the paper said I was 18, I was actually only 14, and I was getting £15 a session to practice my craft and get good at it. Not bad at all, I think you'll agree. Now, in more recent years, I get my students to do pretty much the same thing, except we're talking about the fact that they advertise they're charging £100 sterling minimum, sometimes up to £250 sterling per session, and the free session bit comes in from a slightly different angle, in so much as they're only offered a free session if they attend a group session, so that they're a member of an audience. And I'm going to teach you how to conduct group sessions. It's going to be tomorrow. I'm just looking at the time, and we've got about just under half an hour till our first break, well, our only break today before the second session. Now, we'll teach you how to do group sessions, so you can offer, and you can get a room full of people who are there free from the publicity you've got from the local paper. But all of them, by the way I'll teach you, will feel or want to buy the backup audio compact disc package that normally costs £100 odd on your website, which they can verify there and then. But if they buy it on the day, they can get it for just like £37. And if you've got a room full of, say, 100 people, and you'll get at least 90% of them, the way I'll teach you how to do it, paying the 37 quid for the backup audio CD that's only cost you a quid to run off. You've got 90 lots of £36 sterling. You've just made a hell of a lot of money in a couple of hours in one evening. And you can do that even during the COVID crisis over the internet via Zoom. I'm going to teach you how. Yes, I'm dangling you there a nested loop for tomorrow, so you know that we're going to learn stuff of value. But let me tell you, you already are learning if you're paying attention, because this truly is how I've been so successful. Since the age of 14 to now, I'm 44 and a bit, 30 years. For 30 years, I treated thousands of people around the world. For nearly 30 years, because it'll be a bit later this year, that will be my 30th year as a stage hypnotist, and I didn't start doing that till I was 15 years old. And again, lying about my age, saying I was 18. Although you could argue I was doing stage hypnosis when I was 14, and I was going to local groups and giving entertaining lecture demonstrations of the power of the mind in order to attract hypnotherapy clients, something I'll teach you the tricks of over the next few days. So I listened to the 3 audio tapes. Yes, we're back on track. I read the 67-page manual, and what I learned was this. Now, bear in mind, I had to listen to 3 90-minute audio cassettes, which is 4.5 hours of audio learning, and I had to read the manual, which, let's say, it took 2 hours to read twice. 6.5 hours. We've been on this training now for, according to my clock, 1 hour and 5 minutes, 65 minutes. By the time I've told you what I'm going to tell you, it'll be roughly 10 past. So in 1 hour and 10 minutes, you will have learned what took me at least 6.5 hours to study, because it boiled down to this. I promise you it did. I'm sorry, I keep looking at that camera. Tomorrow I might experiment with, or in this next session I might experiment with not having the preview screen visible to me. Anyway, what did I learn? What I learned was this, okay? The manual contained the following. It contained a script for a progressive relaxation. That's the slow, boring, long-winded, stereotypical hypnotic induction, where you get somebody to stare at a light. And if you stare at that white, bright light, notice all the little muscles around your eyes becoming so heavy. Oh, I'm so tired. All the little muscle groups, like knots tied together, all those stresses, tensions, worries, fears and apprehensions of days and weeks gone by, about to leave your mind and leave your body now, as you imagine untying the knots in your mind, and as you do, those knots untie and become separate pieces of rope, so limp, so loose, so relaxed, so heavy, so tired. Would you see that light moving in towards you, then out, away from you? As your eyes get so heavy, so tired, just letting your heavy eyes close, and all that kind of bullshit. Until they get bored shitless, probably, and close their eyes, and then they're hypnotized. So there was a script for doing that. There was then a script for deepening the trance state. Oh yes, deepening the trance state, which was basically counting them backwards from 10 down to 1. I'm going to count backwards from 10 down to 1. And on each descending number from 10 down to 1, we're going to take another step down that staircase of relaxation in your mind's eye, into the world of your dreams and your imagination. As with every breath that you take, every noise that you hear, every word that I say, and every thought that you think, it merely serves as a sign and a signal to help you relax more completely with each second that passes by. And on 10 and 9, taking those first steps down that staircase, and you realise that with every breath that you take, every noise that you hear, every word that I say, every thought that you think, you just drift down, sinking down deeper and deeper and deeper. And all that bullshit, counting backwards from 10 down to 1. And there's a script for that, the deepening. So, actually, there's a script for getting rapport, inducing the trance, deepening the trance. Then there's a script for ego strengthening therapy. This was a script about, oh, you're now so deeply relaxed, so deeply asleep. That's wonderful. You're such a wonderful person. You're using your powers of intelligence, imagination, and concentration so effectively. And just so long as you keep using your powers of mind so effectively, that as I talk to your unconscious now, an embedded commander, your unconscious now, consciously is taken that I'm talking to your unconscious, but your unconscious, subconscious mind arguably takes it as your unconscious, meaning out of it, a metaphor for being hypnotized. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, who cares? But just thought I'd point it out. So there were scripts for get rapport, induce the trance, deepen the trance, ego strengthening therapy, buttering them up, making them feel good, increasing their self-esteem, self-confidence, self-image, self-control, aka willpower. All things that were immensely important. They are the keys to everything, as you will learn tonight, definitely. So induce the get rapport, induce the trance, deepen trance, ego strengthening therapy. There were scripts for different types of therapy. There was a smoking cessation script. There was a weight loss, weight management script. There was a confidence script. There was a script for driving test nerves, asthma, stress, anxiety, and a whole bunch of other things, okay? There were scripts to read. Then there was a script for the major post-hypnotic suggestion, which was effectively to tell them that from this moment forward, every day in every way, each morning when you awaken, you'll awaken with an inner warm glow of confidence, a renewed optimism to life, a more positive attitude to get things done. And you'll find that with every breath that you take, every noise that you hear, every word that you hear people say, or every thought that you think of your everyday life, everything will just serve as an automatic sign and signal to your unconscious mind to take all of the suggestions and work we've done here together today and make it 100 times more positive, powerful, and permanently beneficial for you in every way, shape and form. And you'll find that each and every time you listen to the audio cassette tape that I give you to listen to, that you'll listen to it every day for the next 28 days. And each and every time you do, it will be just as effective. In fact, it'll be 100 times more effective than if I was there with you in the room at the time. And that was roughly the gist of it. And then there was a script for awakening them from the trance by counting from 1 to 10. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 10. On the count of 10 and only on the count of 10, you'll instantly be wide awake. Everything I've said to you will remain with you and go stronger, more positive and beneficial for you every day in every way, with every thought that you think, every breath that you take, and every stimulus around you in your everyday life, making it more positive for you. And beneficial in every way. 1, 2, 3, every nerve, fibre, tissue and muscle in your body from the tips of your toes, being washed with pure spring water, almost as if you're being revitalised, re-energised in every atom of your being. 4, 5 and 6, all those stresses, tensions, worries, fears, apprehensions, days, weeks, months and years gone by, leaving your mind and leaving your body right now is on 7 and 8. Lighter and brighter starting to come back to us. 9, almost there, and on 10, wakey, wakey, rise and shine, open your eyes, you're back in the room. And yes, I do it that cheesily for reasons I will explain. If you don't do it that way now, I guarantee you'll get better results when you do. And I'll explain why shortly. So in that manual was the script for the Get Rapport, Induce the Trance, Deepen the Trance, Ego Strengthening Therapy, various different therapies, Major Post-Hypnotic, and awakening them from trance. Points 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 and 7 remained the same for every session. The only thing that changed was number 5, the therapy. You either used the smoking script or the weight loss script. You used your common sense, you used the relevant script, okay? Now I know at that time that limited me. I could only do smoking, weight loss, confidence, driving test nerves, asthma, stress, anxieties, worries, and some basic phobias, because that's the only things I had scripts for. And I too was a deluded fuckwit who thought you had to go on different courses for different techniques, for different issues, when in actual fact, when you've been taught properly, you know how to deal with everything as you will by the end of these 4 days. But forgive my ignorance at the time, I was only 14. How was I supposed to know better? I wasn't there to teach me then. You're more fortunate. So, what I did was this. I realised something. I thought it's not going to look very good if people know I'm just reading scripts. Okay? Although it did suggest to do that in the APHP course. And those who are members of my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp can actually go in the Bootcamp members area, click on where it says Original Hypnosis Course, and there's a PDF of the exact manual I got when I was 13 years of age, because I bought the company. I was so impressed by it. If you're not in the Bootcamp, I'm sure you'll feel that desire to join, increasing over the next 4 days, and then you'll be able to check it out. That's just a joke, by the way. Seriously though, I thought I don't want them to see me reading a script, because that's going to seem a bit like, well, anyone can read. So thanks to having learnt about linguistic trickery, sleight of hand, and outright lying through magic and show business already, I very quickly came up with this phrase, and this is what I did. This is how I did my first ever therapy clients. Again, I'm looking at the wrong camera, I was. Sorry. Learning experience for me, this was a way of doing seminars. My first sessions, and certainly for the first 12 to 18 months, until I was about 16 years of age, this is how I treated all of my clients, okay? I'd go with a briefcase, and the justification for the briefcase, I went to their homes, by the way, at the time. The reason I did that was because I didn't want to pay for an office. And I'd probably no one would have rented me an office then. So I figured I'd take that negative and make it an advantage and say, in the comfort, privacy and safety of your own home, the mobile therapist comes to you, and that this is more effective than going to see a therapist in their office because you're in an environment where you already feel calm, safe and secure. Now, I know there's exceptions to that. Domestic violence victims, for example. We're not dwelling there, I'm talking generalities. Now, generalities mean that we're putting people and tarring people with the same brush, but we're doing it here with positive intent because there's nothing that works 100% of the time with 100% of the people. So we just need to stack the law of averages in our favour as much as we can. So I showed up with the briefcase. My reason for that was when I opened it, I took out the portable tape recorder. And I had an extension lead in there as well, so I could plug it in, told them it was to record the session. And it was. That's the backup audio tape I spoke about before that I gave them. It was recorded there during the session, so that when I said to them, now John, close your eyes, or now Janet, relax them, they'd hear their name on the tape. I've done away with that now, as you'll learn as the course goes on, but that's what I did then. But it meant that inside the case was my folder with my scripts in. Now, by scripts, I mean Get Rapport, well, that one I'd remember. I'll come to that later. Induce the trance, deepen the trance, ego strengthening, the post-hypnotic and the awakening. And I'd put in whichever therapy was relevant. Could I make up, you know, I'd make up photocopy, multiple copies, so I could have one linked together for smoking if I had a smoking client that day, but I'd have one also ready that was for weight loss if I had a weight loss client that day. So it saved faffing around between sessions. So I didn't have to flick through all the other therapy scripts, if that makes sense. It was nice and clean, kept it simple. So I get rapport, and getting rapport is as simple as this. As long as you have advertised right, or they're booking you because they've seen you in the media, so they already believe you, but we'll talk about marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion and getting yourself on the map on day 4. As long as that's been structured right, they believe in you before you arrive with them, or before they arrive with you at your office, or before they log on online for the virtual online session or whatever. 99% of the work's already done when you do it as I will teach you over the coming days. The rest is ritual. The rest is time killing. The rest is to give them a justifiable, logical, rational, reasoning excuse to believe that they've gone through something that allows them to change and do something that frankly they could have always done, which is something we'll talk more about after because I've just looked at the time, it's 9:20, nearly break time, that we'll talk about in the second part of this evening. Getting rapport was as simple as this. I knew their name before I got there because they told me when they booked. And I would go, hi, nice to meet you, John, or nice to meet you, Janet. The customary, in England at least, some countries in the world, that might be deemed offensive when you've only just met somebody, but handshake. And if they put down their name was John Davidson, let's say. Nice to meet you, Mr. Davidson. Or is it okay if I call you John? And they would, because of the environment, pretty much recurring, say, yeah, it's fine, call me John. But I'd immediately follow that up with this statement, very powerful. I'd say, oh, nice one, John. Can I just ask, is that what your friends and family call you? Or do they shorten it, lengthen it? What do your friends and family call you, John? And you might just say it's John, or no, they call me Johnny Boy, or they call me Dickhead. You know, he might be a builder, and his mates are brickies, and they go to the pub, and they, you know, he calls one of them wanker chops. They call him Dickhead. It doesn't matter. But whatever they say, don't seem surprised. Don't laugh at them, obviously. That could make them feel not so good. Go, oh, okay, excellent, John. So if your friends and family call you Billy the Pirate, I'm taking the piss here on purpose. If your friends and family call you Billy the Pirate, would it be okay if I call you Billy the Pirate today? And I would literally point at them like that. I'm kind of doing the body language. Would it be okay that I call you Billy the Pirate, like your friends and family do? And eyeball them. And they'll say, invariably, it's very rare it happens, they'll anything other than saying yes. The moment they've said yes, if they say no, it's fine. You just say, okay, I'll call you John then. But 99% of the time recurring, they will, because especially because of the body language, which you can watch again on the replay, you kind of force them into it. The moment they say consciously yes, you can call them what their family and friends call them. They are consciously letting you have the same level of trust and rapport as their long-term family and friends. And that one sentence, that one question used like that, and getting that acceptance is more powerful, I tell you from experience, than all this bullshit about mirroring and matching body language and spending ages to get to know the client before you get down to doing the therapeutic work. Get them to agree to let you call them what their family or friends do, and immediately they're consciously accepting you on the same trust and rapport level as their family and friends, which means, boom, trust resistance issues out the window because they've given themselves a massive hypnotic command, arguably. So I do that. That, by the way, wasn't in the APHP manual. That's something I learned the roots of in phraseology from old books on mentalism and mind reading from the magic arena. So I brought that and bring that to the table, as it were. I then cut to the chase because I don't need to know that much about what's wrong with them. They've told me on the phone. Why would I want to be bored shitless hearing them talk about their boring, pathetic life that meant that they're paying me money, a mere human being who knows a few psychological party tricks, but can present them in a manner where I'm an apparently confident authority figure with some credibility and good at marketing to make them believe in what is really just a lucky charm of the placebo effect, and a bit more besides that we'll go into in the second part this evening. I don't want to listen to their boring fucking lies, do I, fuck? No. I want my money. Back then I wanted my money and to be gone. I mean, now it doesn't matter, can I get the money up front? That come when we come to marketing. So I cut to the chase. I already knew their issues. I say, okay, go and either sit down or lie down on your couch, your sofa, whatever makes you feel comfortable. That's giving them an instruction, but giving them an element of apparent choice. It's one or the other, chair or couch, sit or lie down. They've got to do one of them, so they are obeying your command, but it appears to give us some choice. Also, it means that they do that which they feel most comfortable with, which is good because we want them to feel comfortable, because in this next bit, when we do the induction, them feeling comfortable, calm and relaxed is going to help them believe they're being hypnotized. I would then say, okay, John, or, you know, Barry the Pirate, or whatever his nickname was. Okay, Barry the Pirate, now's the time for you to just take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And then out through your mouth. In through your nose. And then out through your mouth. And continue breathing deeply and regularly in through your nose. And then out through your mouth. And now just close your eyes. Literally just close your eyes down. Barry the Pirate, John, whatever they're called. Just close your eyes down. And I came up with this phrase. This I invented. I've never seen this in any books except recent books that have stolen it from me. Some of them we credit. They're okay. Others just buy stuff and put it out there. And don't give credit. And the phrase is this. The moment he closes his eyes, which he's not hypnotized at the minute, or is he? We'll have that argument later. But he's closed his eyes physically, voluntarily, consensually, at a conscious level. Once his eyes are closed, or hers, I say to him or her, okay, Barry the Pirate, just so long as you keep your eyes tightly closed at all times, unless I say otherwise, and just so long as you continue to use your powers of intelligence, imagination, and concentration effectively, then our work here together over the next hour will prove to be 1,000,000% successful for you. Nod your head if you understand. And they will consciously do that. Once they have, if they for any reason open their eyes, it's their fucking fault that the session doesn't work. If they don't do exactly what you tell them, it's their fucking fault. All the pressure is off you. They have consciously accepted that they have to keep their eyes closed at all times, and they have to use their powers of intelligence, imagination, and concentration effectively for this to be 1,000,000% successful for them. It means all the onus is on them for it to work, but also it means you can be relaxed and not worried. It also means that they'll keep their bloody eyes closed, which is great, because then they won't see you go into your briefcase and take out the scripts, which is exactly what I did. And then I read the induction, the deepener, the ego strengthening therapy script, the therapy that was relevant, the major post-hypnotic suggestion I've already mentioned, and then the awakening script. But on the awakening script, once I got to the number 7, I put the script away, because guess what? I could remember what to say for numbers 8, 9, and 10. And that way, there was no script visible when the people opened their eyes and came back in the room. And remember that in that awakening script, I added, this is a sentence I added, those who are in the boot camp now, or who join over the next few days at the dramatic discount that's in the members group, will see that this sentence is what I added to the awakening. And that is, near the end when I go, well, right near the beginning, when I say, I'm going to count from 1 to 10. On the count of 10, and only on the count of 10, then and only then, you can open your eyes. Now, that isn't a hypnotic suggestion saying their eyes are locked together till the count of 10, but some of them might perceive it that way. That's fine if they want to. But what it's saying is, just as you've kept your eyes closed to make this work, just as you've had to use your intelligence, imagination, and concentration for it to work, so you've got to keep your eyes closed till the count of bloody 10. That makes sure you've got your script put away before they open their eyes. It also means the more compliant they are all the way through, the more they believe they've been hypnotized because they've done what the hypnotist said, and thus they buy into more of this scenario and belief system and perception that you have hypnotized them, altered their mind state, and done something that will help them. Which, as I explain, we'll explain after the break we're shortly going to have, is complete and utter fucking bullshit. That's not why it works, but if they want to believe it, it will amplify the positivity of the real reasons why it does work, which we'll explain after the break. So then I would have woken them up, and in those days, when I started off, then I'd get the money and leave after giving them the cassette tape. I very quickly learned that it was a bit awkward at the end, because they were a bit, because a lot of them had actually fallen to sleep for reasons I'll explain after the break. And I mean not hypnotic sleep, no. I mean sleep. But I told them that meant they were really hypnotized. And I'll explain how that worked to their benefit, my benefit, and your benefit, okay, when we've had a, oh no, I've got 3 or 4 more minutes yet till break time. So I will tell you this. And that is that then I very quickly started showing up, and the first thing I do before getting rapport was say, gypsy fortune tellers, when they go get a client, would say to them, cross my palm with silver. Nobody likes talking about money, so let's get it out of the way now. That'll be, back then that'll be 30 quid, please. These days, that'll be £500, please. Because I won't see anyone for less than £500 sterling for a single session. And often I'll charge way more, as I'll explain on Sunday, because not all clients are equal. The more money they've got, the more you charge them. But we'll cover that later in the course. First, you need to know what to do with them so they feel that they have got value for money. And the key is feelings are not reality. Feelings are just thoughts that create sensation in the body, positive or negative. And if that feeling that their thoughts create is positive, and they positively feel and think they got value for money and it's worked for them, then it has worked for them. It becomes their self-fulfilling prophecy, and they will believe they've got value for money. For some people, you can achieve that by charging them just 100 quid. For other people, clients who are multi-millionaires, if you don't charge them at least several £1,000s for the session, there's more chance they will relapse, because 100 quid or a few hundred quid's pocket change to them. It's got to have attached a value to what you're doing so that they buy into it when they come and see you. 9:30 p.m. on my watch. I know it may not be for everyone, but it is on my watch, and we're going off my watch. So we're going to have a 15-minute maximum break, which means we're starting at 9:45 p.m. prompt. Please go to the toilets, refresh your glasses, go outside, take some drugs if you're having a nervous breakdown because you don't like to swear words like cunt, twat, or you're offended by words or don't know what they mean, like fouching, fisting, on various things, because those words will be coming up again over the course of the next few days, because you'll be using them in your therapy sessions. Yes, you will. I'll explain all in 15 minutes. That's end of session 1. Well, I know when you start thinking, but I don't think you can. You're going to have to do it for tomorrow, because it's the thing that keeps popping up, and I think it's from the free YouTube video downloader, nsave.vid, to be precise. I've turned that camera off for now.
Right.
I'm still on the webcam.
I don't want to be on webcam.
Well, so I wouldn't mess with the computer because I'm on Zoom.
Right, okay.
The fact is, tomorrow during the day, if you can probably remove all cookies and everything from your browser, which means that I'll have to use Firefox when I want to use the free YouTube video downloader, so that whatever it adds on to Firefox then won't be on Google Chrome, which is what I'm using now. Because I'm sure that's how I've got it, because it's got adverts on most of the pop-ups for nsavevid.com, which is where I
Can I
download.
be heard if I speak?
Yeah, good show.
Okay, I want to insult your technical knowledge then. You could still use the other download without having all these pop-ups. I will fix it probably best. Just leave it to me. Stu will be laughing right now.
I am.
It's not something I need to know about, ladies and gentlemen, to earn a bloody...
Am I right, Stu, though?
Good living as a hypnotist.
Exactly. He's got a brilliant team of technical people behind him.
Well, but it will be sorted for tomorrow.
I will sort it for everybody.
It was supposed to be sorted.
She's a bit shy. She doesn't want to be seen.
It would have been sorted for today, but it's my fault. I stood on the, I had a plastic-like step thing that unfolds to stand on to put the backdrop up and pin it in place. And my foot nearly went through it and it broke, which is weird because it's supposed to take like double my weight. So that went in the bin and we had to go out and buy a metal step ladder. And
while social distancing, we were completely safe.
Well, that basically meant that I totally forgot about getting Rach to remove these pop-ups. Oh, I'll tell you what I can do. I can turn the pocket recorder off until the start of the second
No,
session.
but I like that as complete evidence of everything that's gone on.
Well, there'll be less bloody what's it then, won't there?
Do you need a drink?
Editing required. Yeah, I'm going to come and grab another drink before I put this back on record and that back on record because we don't start for another 11 minutes, so talk amongst yourselves. Stop by then. Don't really pinch it out 12 times from when it's switched on, and then it never does it. We have another.
We not have it, but I'll leave you to it.
How the hell have I managed to move the stage area whilst I'm just stood on it? Oh, the rug's moved forward. There we go. How odd. How odd. You lay down and you carpet.
Alex, you know we can still hear what you're saying?
Yeah, don't worry.
Okay.
Trust me, he doesn't give a shit.
Precisely. Although the only thing I give a shit about at the minute is for some reason my little makeshift stage area appears to have moved halfway across the office somehow. Oh,
If you do go to the toilet, then please turn every sound off. We don't want to end up like Martin did, right?
That's all right. The microphone's connected to the computer in here. The one that's on here is the recorder switched off till we start again. So yeah, that won't happen. You'll be glad to hear. Yeah. So I'll need that in a second.
And you're still recording as well, Alex. I don't know if you want to do that.
Yeah, I'll just leave it recording on Zoom. I've stopped recording in the office on the proper camera.
Okay.
Because it's the one off the proper camera that I'll actually upload into the group as the backup copy, because it'll be a better quality recording. Excellent. Where are we? 25. There we go. 9 minutes, excuse me. Right, I do believe I'm on track here, aren't I? Yeah. I have to cover the questionnaires, and then that's tomorrow day too. You can't see on the webcam, is that just slightly out of webcam view, I've got various props and various things that will be needed over the next few days. Excellent. Oh dear. I tell you what, it's been hot here today. Has it been hot for everybody else? Nice.
28 degrees.
Nice.
Spain.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what it's been here, but it's been hot.
35, San Diego, California.
Oh, bloody hell. Nice.
Miranda.
Annemieke.
Yay!
It was about 21 here.
That's about a long time ago, Annemieke.
Yesterday.
I know.
Where's the bloody thing gone? It's got to be here somewhere.
Okay, Google, what's the temperature?
The temperature in Cologne right now is 18 degrees.
Oh, it's quite a bit less than Rochdale.
Well, it was 21 in London today. That was the high, allegedly.
81 degrees Celsius in Louisville, Kentucky in the States.
And we're supposed to stay in, most of us, unless it's for exercise. Oh, that's better. 5 more minutes, then we'll start again. Alex, you must get used to looking that way. At that camera, not that one.
You got a big bright post-it note or something you can...
That's not the issue. The camera that's doing the recording in this room is the one that I keep getting distracted by, because it's got a what do you call it, preview monitor.
Right.
Basically, now I would say turn the monitor away, but by having the monitor there, it's making sure I don't walk out of, because I've got it framed on there so I can tell that I'm definitely on screen on the webcam.
Yeah.
So that I don't have to keep looking all the time over here where the laptop is to see that I'm definitely on camera.
I'm just thinking bright pink post-it note behind the webcam might grab your attention. Similar to a red light on a TV camera.
Yeah, well, you know what should really grab my attention? If you could see it now, you'd know that the webcam is right in the centre of a big white LED light that is illuminating this office. That is where the webcam is located. So as I look at the webcam, I'm looking at a big, well, through the middle of a big round LED white light.
Got a ring light.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't think a post-it note would be any more
no, maybe not.
Visually eye-catching than the LED light, to be honest. 5 more minutes. Let's stick this camera back on in a second.
It's 84 degrees Fahrenheit in Cincinnati.
Oh.
What's that in real money?
I like numbers.
Hold on. 29 in Celsius.
That is nice.
Hello, neighbor.
Yeah, I know. I heard somebody's in Is it Louisville?
Or if you're from here, it's pronounced Louisville.
Oh, here we go with that again. Yeah, well, I'm from Cincinnati. I was born and raised here, but I've been through Louisville. before.
Yep, yep. You can always tell what end of town people live in by the way they pronounce it.
That is true.
But rubbing pronunciation balls.
You can tell from his Cincinnati too.
That's true. That is
like
true.
Michelle.
Well, it's just like I went to college in Georgia.
So
that
explains everything.
So when I come home, they're like, "You talk funny. What are you talking about?" It's because I lived in the South between the years I was in college, the time I spent in the Navy in Florida. Then I went to Virginia.
Oh God.
And then I went to the Middle East.
I can't believe you have any R's in your pronunciation at all. Then.
Here we go.
It is said by people from other states that people from Georgia speak the slowest of the whole United States.
I don't know about that. I would almost.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I would think Arkansas would be
slow.
a
You
lot
really have to have patience.
You can't play
Alabama,
Mad Lib games with them.
Alabama,
Mississippi,
Georgia,
Mississippi,
yeah.
Georgia, Florida. There's some interesting dialects there.
Yeah.
There's some very interesting dialects.
In Alabama, and he picks up the phone like, "Hey, hon, how you doing?"
I actually did that on a phone call while I was in Florida. There was a guy from Texas, and he called on the phone, and he was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And everybody's looking at me because they're going, "He doesn't normally talk like that." And when I got off the phone, I was like, "Hey, he talked like that. I talked like that back to him." He was trying to find how to get to where we were. But he was straight Texas. I mean, he had that dialect, the twang, the whole works. He was deep Texas. And people are looking at me like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "What? I didn't do anything." I just naturally went into it because I mean he had this the energy to his conversation was just out there. So he was like, "Hey, buddy, I need your help." Well, friend, what do you need? And I told him how to get to where we were. But you deal with that kind of energy when you get that kind of energy. I mean, he was a nice guy.
Excellent. Yeah. When they're friendly and polite, it doesn't matter what their accent is.
Exactly.
It's okay that you can hear where people are from. It doesn't matter if people have an accent. It's how they treat you.
Oh, most definitely.
So if they're impolite, I can be pretty impolite too.
I mean, I spent time in the Middle East. Well, I lived there for 3 years. And I wouldn't say, "Oh God." I mean, because 99% of the people that I met were wonderful. I mean, I lived and worked in Bahrain. I also worked in Qatar. I went to Dubai, and then I worked in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Every one of those countries, I had an absolute ball because as soon as you start talking, because they don't know for sure what you are until you start talking. Once they realize that you're an American, it's like, "Oh, you're from the States." Yes. Everybody treated me with respect, but one incident, and that was alcohol related.
Hey, you always have some people, there are some people
there's always.
Everywhere around the world. You have some of those.
Yep. There's always going to be that one person, but 99.
Well, being a female, I don't think I'd get the same reaction that you got.
Oh, no. As a matter of fact, one of our sailors put a guy in the hospital because, and it's been they've done articles about it because she was in a cab with him, and he thought that he could take liberties with her.
Oh.
Well, what he didn't know was that she was a mixed martial artist.
Serves him right.
So yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty.
Okay, peeps, it is fast approaching 2:45 on my watch. So if we can all mute again, or once I check that I've set the audio recorder recording in my pocket, which I have apparently, we shall begin. So welcome back. This is session 2 of day 1 of Stay at Home and Hypnotize. As I said before, and I'm going to repeat it again because repetition is one of the main tools of a hypnotist. Over the next, the rest of today and then 3 more days, you will get all the pieces of the jigsaw, genuinely and sincerely, the core essence of how I've earned my living for the past 30 years, which has enabled me, again, this is going to sound like I'm bragging, but the reason is I want you to either be envious and angry at making I sound big-headed, that you go, I'm going to do better than he ever did, which is great, because that means then you'll be successful and go out into the world and put this into action, which is what I want. Or I want you to be inspired, which is another way you could react and go, wow, if that absolute idiot is capable of that, what am I capable of? Because, you know, you can have that thought process. And again, that's fine, because it means you'll go out and do something and be successful. It doesn't matter what your reaction is, as long as it motivates you to go out and do something different. Because if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll keep getting what you've always got. So if you are not currently at a point in your life where you are financially independent and free, if this COVID crisis came to you like, shit, I can't see clients, and you were worrying how you were going to pay the bills, then you should have got off your ass sooner to create multiple streams of passive income, which I will teach you how to do the core essence of before the end of these 4 days. It's amazing how many people out there, therapists, who are not yet doing online sessions, or if they are, they're well, they're crap at advertising, so they're not getting as many clients as they want. Because the key is, you are in the business. You're in the business of sales. You are not a stage hypnotist. If you think that, you're a fucking idiot. You are not a hypnotherapist. If you think that, go on, you can say it now, you're a fucking idiot. And that is why you will not get any further in the business. What you're in the business of is sales. The fact is that you may sell stage hypnosis shows, or you might think you do, because you still don't sell that. You might think that you sell hypnotherapy sessions. Again, having that mentality will get you further in your career than thinking you're a stage hypnotist or hypnotherapist, but it won't help you fulfill your full potential, because you're not selling stage hypnosis shows or hypnotherapy sessions. You are selling laughter, memories, unforgettable experiences of entertainment for whatever context market you're selling to. Or you're selling the freedom to be able to take that job opportunity overseas that they've not been able to because up till now they've been shit scared of flying. You're selling life changes, benefits. You're not selling an hour of your time as a therapist or an hour or more as an entertainer. While you're stuck in that mode, yes, you'll make more than the people who think they're stage hypnotists or hypnotherapists, because realizing that you're a salesperson. But if you think you're selling stage hypnosis shows or therapy sessions or both, yes, you'll earn more than the ones below you, but you can't get the real cream at the top until you realize what you're selling. What people will pay a premium for is unforgettable experiences and emotional life adventures and events. You might provide that through a stage hypnosis show, but that's not the way to sell it. Same with therapy, it's the benefit. There's that old saying in sales, sell the sizzle, not the sausage. You've got to sell the benefits to them, not what it actually is, what it will do for them. You've got to whiff them. That's nothing to do with a smell. It's W-I-I-F-M, whiff them. What's in it for me? That is what people think, whether consciously or unconsciously, before they choose to buy something or before they choose to pay more to come to you or me than to the person who thinks they're supplying a hypnotherapy session or they're a hypnotherapist. If you get my point. That is what will take them over the edge to happily pay double, triple, quadruple the amount of money for your services than someone who effectively is offering the same. It's just this person's putting the focus on, I'm a hypnotherapist or a stage hypnotist, whereas you will be, by the end of this, more so, if you already do it, or you will start doing it if you don't already, selling the positive benefit, the experience, the emotional feeling to them, to make it so that there is no question about price. Once that person believes that you have got what they want to feel in here and feel in here how they want to feel, then they'll go into debt if they have to. I'm not encouraging you to get people in debt, but I'm just saying that people will do the most ridiculous things. They can, you know, I hear so many therapists go, I couldn't possibly charge that. Clients in my area can't, you know, don't earn enough. Maybe they don't, but you know what? They managed to save up enough money to take the family on holiday. If they valued what you offer to the same level as the holiday for their family, they would save the money. They would make it happen. That is about, you might say that sales is manipulating people's emotions to make them buy things that perhaps they didn't really need. And the truth is, to a degree, that's true. But the only way you're ever going to be truly successful is by selling them something they don't really need, because guess what? No fucking needs you. Or me. Don't worry, I'm not saying you in particular. I come into that category. They don't. We're going to convince them that they do. And if you want to charge a premium, you've got to convince them why they should go to you or me as opposed to, you know, somebody else. And that is where, through studying marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion, when I was very young, I started doing that because I was promoting my magic shows. And through also learning about magic and psychology, before I ever got into hypnosis, I realised that, and particularly from a book by, actually I've got it right here, just I'm slightly going out of camera shot, but there we go. That book, Zero Resistance Selling. And it's based on Maxwell Maltz's book, Psycho-Cybernetics. So when you order this, also order a copy of Maxwell Maltz's Psycho-Cybernetics book, okay? Both of them you'll get on Amazon second-hand for a couple of quid each. But this is arguably the best sales book you'll ever read. And the reason it's the best is because it is based on Maxwell Maltz's Psycho-Cybernetics book, which, paraphrased down to its essence, in my words, but when you read Maxwell Maltz's Psycho-Cybernetics, you will recognise what I'm about to talk about during this session, albeit that he uses different words and terminology than me in a lot of the places. But ultimately, his book narrows down to this, and this is my foundation for saying to you that no fucking need you. The truth is, hypnosis doesn't exist, and if you think it does, you're wrong. And yeah, you might be sat there going, oh no, he's a non-state theorist, but there's all this evidence that shows changes in the brain. Yep, and that evidence that exists for changes in the brain is bullshit from fundamental reason. The fundamental reason being, it is impossible to test somebody using one of those machines in a manner where there isn't some form of verbal and or non-verbal implied suggestion of importance about the testing. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing the bloody test in the first place. It's an impossible thing to do. So therefore, suggestion has become involved straight away, and therefore, it's a worthless test. I'm not going to waste loads of time on it, but let me tell you that the studies galore, if you actually go into electroencephalographs, I can't say the fucking word, EEGs and all that nonsense. In terms of testing for hypnotherapy and it being a distinctly different state, it's bullshit. They're not really reliable. All it is really is a piece of software that gives you a fancy picture interpretation. It's bullshit. Look into it if you want to waste a load of time. You don't need to. And you don't even need to agree with me. But I'm telling you, it's a lot easier for your future success if you realise hypnosis doesn't exist. Suggestion does, but a distinct state that's different of hypnosis, bullshit. There isn't one. Hypnosis exists only in the mind of the believer. Now, this sounds like a paradox. I am, over the course of the next few days, going to tell you that you can, and I categorically am telling you, you can hypnotize people against their will. Yes, you can. You can hypnotize, I'm not saying you should because that's illegal, but you can do it. And I've done it for media projects where the context was provably warranted and legal enough. You can hypnotize people without their knowledge, without their consent. You can make people do things that totally contradict the morals and the values. You can make them do illegal things. Yes, you can make mind-controlled assassins to kill people. Yes, you can make mind-controlled sex slaves by creating multiple personalities and split areas of the mind. Conventional psychiatry and DSM Volume 5 refer to it as multiple personality disorder. It used to be called schizophrenia at one time. They give it different names over the years to keep selling drugs to people for no good reason. That's by the by, that's not what we're here for. But I'm telling you for a fact that when you realize and accept that all of those things are possible, it becomes easier to realize and accept that you can consistently make people change their lives like that in one session, whatever the bloody thing is from A through to Z that they might come with, as long as you know what you're doing. And here's the thing, most therapy courses will never teach you how to hypnotize people against their will. Most therapy courses will never teach you how to make people do things they don't want to do. Most therapy courses will not teach you how to compartmentalize somebody's brain, effectively splintering their psychological unconscious mind into different partitions, creating multiple personalities, or restoring the already existing multiple personalities into one complete whole. Because most therapy trainers don't have a fucking clue what they're doing and don't know or believe that this exists. I'm telling you now, it does. If you don't believe me, that's fine, it's your loss. But once you realise, and I tell you now, on this particular thing, we've got Keith Anthony Taylor. If you go on my hypnosisweek.com, I've done an interview with Keith, who's in the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group. And if you seek that out and listen to it, as well as the one that I did with Neil Saunders, and listen to them, we go into great depth and provide the proof of how you can make people do things against their will. How MK Ultra is not some kind of conspiracy theory, it is a fact. How George Estabrooks, who wrote the book Hypnosis, but the volume that's available now, had a chapter removed. There were limited copies that went out that had a chapter in called Hypnosis and Warfare that actually taught you how to do this. Well, did that chapter genuinely tell you how to do it? Pretty much, having seen it and having been taught by Delavar, who wrote the Hypnotist Bible that's in the boot camp, who has done such things for the military in wartime. When you realise that what you've read in most books is bullshit, but it works, why does it work? You think, that's the obvious thing. Well, if it's bullshit, but what I'm doing works, does it matter? But with most of the claims, no, it doesn't, admittedly. But with some claims, the reason you won't be getting results is because you won't be using certain techniques or using them to their full capacity because you've been led to believe what you read in certain books or watched on certain courses you've done with the majority of trainers who tell you you can't be hypnotized against your will, you can't be made to do things you don't want to do, you can't be turned into a mind-controlled assassin, sex slave, and all that kind of stuff. If you've ever done training from someone who tells you that none of that's possible, I'm telling you now, they're fucking shit hypnotists and don't know what they're doing or what they're fucking talking about. If that offends anyone watching, sorry, it gets a whole bunch worse over the next few days. For those who can bear with the fact that this will rattle a lot of you inside because it will push those buttons of, why the fuck did I give that person $2.5 grand for that course? Why have I spent money on that course when what I was told was bullshit from somebody who's never achieved anything in the real world? Because most therapy trainers, you look at them, they make their sole income from training. I'm not going to mention names, but good Christ almighty, there's more and more jumping up. They're only a name in the industry, within the industry, to people in the industry. You've seen their advertising because of the courses they've done. Outside of the courses, they've never done anything of note. They couldn't earn a fucking living treating clients if they tried. That's why they're trying to do courses all the time. fact, I still do shows. I get paid multiple high 4- and 5-figure sums to fly around the world doing shows. All expenses paid, flying first or business class depending on the client, stopping in 5- 6-star hotels. Yes, there are 6-star hotels. Therapy-wise, 500 quid minimum. But some clients pay thousands upon thousands of pounds for the same hour to 2-hour therapy session. Again, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying it to tell you that you are fully capable of doing this when you realize that I'm telling you exactly the truth of how I've done it for the past 30 years, and I'm still doing it. That's why if you go and do some due diligence, which I hope you did before you came on this, but if you haven't, before tomorrow's session, if you go, the starting point is to go to hypnotismexposed.co.uk, and I've got a list of 10 questions you should ask any hypnosis trainer before you spend a penny with them. Although you never will spend a penny with any other hypnosis trainer at the end of these 4 days, if you've got any sense, because you won't need to. But it will show you those questions, and then don't just take the person's answer for them, independently research for yourself for 2 reasons. A, so you don't get ripped off. B, because most of them lie about what they've done, and when you check it out, they haven't. I encourage you to do that with me as well, because your research will prove to you I've done well over 200 TV shows around the world. I've had my own 1-hour TV special on German RTL TV in the early 90s. I've had my own 6-part European TV series in the late 90s, early 2000s. I've appeared in every national daily newspaper in England and every Sunday newspaper on numerous occasions over the past 30 years. Other than Paul McKenna, I am the only British hypnotherapist, as far as I know, to ever be on the front page of the Sun newspaper at a time when it was the biggest red paper in England, with a double page spread inside as well for curing a lady's fear of traffic wardens. I'm the only British hypnotherapist to ever be featured in USA Today, America's biggest read, syndicated, every state in America national daily newspaper. I was in there with a therapeutic encounter I had with Robert De Niro and Billy Crystal. Yes, the world famous actors, when we were promoting their film, Analyze That. Again, I don't tell you this stuff, the fact that I've done almost 1,000 radio shows around the world, the fact that I've hypnotized celebrities, the fact that I've been linked in the past to Page 3 girls, glamour models galore, helping motivate them mind-wise behind the scenes. The fact that after I hypnotised not Wickham Wanderers, although I've hypnotised them, but Blackburn Rovers and Wigan Athletic, I've hypnotised them and got them into the Premiership, which is the highest league in football in England at the time. I know they may have dropped down afterwards, but they stopped working with me. Hey, different manager. I tell you this partly to brag, but mainly to motivate you, because all of those things were achieved through 2 things. 1, effective marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion, which I'll cover on Sunday. But number 2, the core understanding of what I'm going to teach you in this session today, which are the final building blocks before tomorrow, when I'll teach you the structure of the complete mind therapy session and the structure of the complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress, cured session, and whatnot. But here's the rest of the building blocks. So, recap. Hypnotherapy sessions are made up of 7 points, according to Brian Howard, the first course I ever did. That's get rapport, induce the trance, deepen the trance, do the ego strengthening therapy, do the necessary therapy, implant the major post-hypnotic suggestion, awaken them from trance. 7 steps. Stage hypnosis shows or public demonstrations, effectively the same, just ever so slightly different. Get rapport, suggestibility, get rapport, which also is your pre-talk and suggestibility test, induce the trance, deepen the trance, ego strengthening therapy. What was therapy specific to them is now the comedy routines or the demonstrations. Major post-hypnotic suggestion, they'll feel better after the event, but you do have a major post-hypnotic with the stage hypnosis show at the beginning. That whenever you say sleep, they'll go back to sleep. And whenever you awaken them, they'll do whatever you say as an automatic reflex action and then awaken from trance. Effectively, it's the same thing. Therapy and stage is the same. Therapy is a stage show. It's a performance. It's just that sometimes you're performing to one person, one-on-one, in the consulting room, or over the camera for Skype, Zoom, Facebook Messenger video, or another video platform. Or it could be to a group of people for group therapy sessions. But ultimately, the structure is the bloody same. And as I said before, if you were to just go, what's your name? What do your family and friends call you? Oh, excellent. So, Barry the Pirate, is it okay if I call you that? The moment they accept, you've got that rapport and trust level up there. And then you tell them to close their eyes, and just so long as they keep their eyes tightly closed at all times, unless I say otherwise, you will find that the work we do here today together will, just so long as you use your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively, be 1,000,000% successful for you. Not yet, if you understand. Once they enter that therapeutic contract, onus on them. And that's very important, the fact that the onus is on them. I'll come to the reason why in a minute. You then follow your script, awaken them. The job is done as long as your advertising was done right, because if the advertising's done right, 99%, if not more, of the therapy's done before you even get on the video Zoom call with them, or before you arrive at their house or they arrive at your office. Because here is the thing. They just need an excuse. They just need a kind of psychological shield to remove all self-blame, shame, guilt, and regret. That is the core of hypnotherapy or any psychological talking therapy or stage hypnosis. Is this. The individual, and that is why it's almost close to the truth when people say, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. Well, yeah, arguably it is. But really, truly powerful, effective hypnosis is when you don't tell the client that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. One of the worst things you can do, give away the perceived power, for two reasons. A, if you appear to have a magic wand, you can wave for them, and they believe it, and they end up feeling like a magic wand's been waved, then as long as they feel as though a magic wand's been waved and believe it has, and perceive it that way, it doesn't matter what really occurred, because to them, their reality is the magic wand was waved, in which case they will get the result that they desired. Very, very important lesson there. Now, also, if you tell them all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, you're more than often than not telling them they're wrong. Because most clients have the preconceived idea that hypnosis is what they've seen on films and TV of sleep, you'll do what I tell you. Look into the eyes, not around the eyes, into the eyes you're under, or some other bullshit. Which a lot of you may say, well, no, it's not like that. We have to tell the client it isn't. Wrong. Biggest mistake you've been making. The client comes and says, oh, you're not going to make me do something daft like one of those stage hypnotists, are you? The worst thing you can do is say, no, it's all right, love, it's nothing like that. Hypnotherapy is entirely different. You will not be running around like a chicken. The moment you say that, you look shit to your client. You do. Because what you've effectively said is that you can't do what that stage hypnotist can do. Because the only reason they asked, what they were really asking, consciously, they may appear to be afraid, bullshit. What they actually want to hear is that you can do that. Because that's what they believe you should be able to do if you're any good as a hypnotist. Because logically, if you could make them get their clothes off and smear themselves with tomato sauce thinking it was shower gel, then you could quite easily tell them to never smoke another cigarette or to avoid sugary or fatty foods. Logically, in their mind, at a deep ingrained unconscious level, logically, that would be far easier than getting them to get the clothes off and spare themselves in tomato ketchup as a shower gel. Yes, something I did in the early 90s in shows. Don't anymore. Anyway, I digress. So your correct answer should be, and trust me, I've had students in the past who've been therapists for years, and this one technique alone has transformed their success rate in terms of how deep they believe clients went, in terms of the experience that the client said they had, in terms of everything. By answering instead along the lines of, oh yeah, Dave, or Barry the Pirate, because you've already established rapport, remember? So you're on that trust level. So now he trusts you like a family member or his close friend, so he's going to believe anything you say. So if you confirm what he thinks, what he fears to be true, but in a way that doesn't scare him, he will think you're as good or better than the people he's heard about that can do this. So it will elevate your status and make what you do more likely to work. But at the same time, you can actually dissipate any fear he may have of getting his kit off and smearing himself with tomato ketchup, a shower gel. You need to do both in one. And the reaction for that is you go, yeah, Barry the Pirate. Of course we can do that. If you want to do the whole thing where you cluck like a chicken, bark like a dog, get your claws off, smear yourself in tomato ketchup like it's shower gel, and I can also take some pictures for you to take away to prove that you did it if you want. We've got a problem, though. You've only paid for an hour of my time, and you've come here to, you know, overcome your fear of flying. So if we're going to do that stuff, it's going to take another half hour or so. So I'm going to need to charge you another, if you're charging 500 quid, you say half an hour, I'm going to have to charge you another £250. So would you like to pay another 250 quid, or shall we just crack on and sort out your that fear of flying you used to have before you walked in the office today? Notice I say that you used to have before you walked in the office. Because the moment they walk through your door or connect with you on Zoom or whatever, you always talk in terms of the fact that they no longer have that issue they had when they booked the session with you. Because that's how confident you are and how good you are at what you do. And what Barry the Pirate will say is, I've never had it that they turn around and go, there's another 250 quid. If they did, I'd take the 250 quid off them, get this consent form signed, and I video the sessions anyway for reasons we'll explain later. So I'm covered legally and insurance-wise. And I'd let him experience whatever he wanted to experience, because I knew in that moment that making that financial commitment that they would actually do it and they would have that experience. But what will happen, and it's always happened, is that they'll go, oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm just asking, I want to get on with overcoming my fear of flying or whatever. And the result of that is, fuck off, pop-ups, that will be sorted tomorrow. The result is they feel safe that you're not going to do it because there isn't enough time and they're not paying you any more money. So they're no longer scared that they're going to end up naked, smearing themselves in tomato ketchup like shower gel or anything else. But they believe that you could if there was enough time and they paid you. So they believe you're as good as or better than those preconceived ideas in their head, which means you're confirming to them what they thought was true. And when you confirm to somebody what they thought is true, it makes them feel good because they were right. When you tell somebody they're wrong, even if you educate them on as to why, which is a lie anyway, because it's close to the truth what we're telling them, because you can make people do things against their will, except computers. That's what you have your wife for, to deal with that tomorrow. They will elevate your status, and psychologically, your job's done in that therapy session. It was done 99% before they got there because you're in marketing, advertising, publicity, and promotion, and the fact that you charge enough. But answering it in that way gives you the status of, yes, I can do that. I'm as good, if not better than those people, but also makes them calm, relaxed, and feel safe with you. So that's an important lesson. Next thing, also they're doing that in a level where you've already got that rapport at the family and friends level, which, you know, that simple sentence, what do your family and friends call you? Is it okay if I call you that? When they say yes, that will give you an instant level of rapport that is deeper and more connective. If you believe in energy, more energetic, you'll feel the energy shift change. The most hypnotherapists ever get with their clients talking shit with them for 20 minutes over a drink. Really. So, next important lesson. I learned, thanks to Maxwell Maltz, Psycho-Cybernetics, and that's why I say that's the best-selling book I showed you before. It's based on his principles. My worded version of his principles, that I think expand on them and make them a little bit better, actually. More specific to hypnotherapy, anyway. Not necessarily better, just more specific to psychological talking therapies. Is that you may have heard of Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. You can go Google it and see the pyramid and the fact people need security, shelter, warmth. They need to feel safe. They need food and water and all that kind of nonsense. They need to feel worthy and all that. But more important than food, more important than water, arguably, more important than any of them, is that a person needs to feel worthy. Now, give you an example. If a baby is left, even if they're given food and water and whatnot, if they are left and never picked up from birth at a very early age, there have been studies done where some will die because of lack of touch. Seriously, Google it, research it. In essence, yes, there's more to it than that, but in essence, a lack of touch, because touch creates the release of certain bodily chemicals, and we'll come to that later, can lead to death. It's a medical fact. You can go and research it if you want, in your own time. Aside from that, a lack of touch, whether that's a physical touch or a verbal touch of someone's words and attention, maybe just not that they say nothing, they just listen to you, which is why Chad Vera, the founder of the Samaritans, is famous for the saying, don't just do something, sit and listen. Which his point was that listening, you know, hence also the problem shared is a problem half. It's all well and good, and it's true in many circumstances, but I personally don't want to be fucking listening to random strangers' emotional problems and issues. It becomes like Groundhog Day with emotional attention-seeking fuckwits. Don't want it, better things to do with my life. So that is why I formulated Complete Mind Therapy and Cured, because you can cut all that bullshit out. But it's important to understand the power of it and its worth, because those underlying reasons underpin why Cured and CMT work, and why any talking therapy works when it does, when it's done right. And that is this. The real human needs are as follows. And this is being videoed and audioed, and it's in the course notes you download, but if you want to take notes, you can. So you can start looking in a dictionary tomorrow. The real human needs is that a human being needs to, not maybe necessarily, may not want to. There's some people out there who are strange, who don't want, who consciously think they don't want these things, but they need them nonetheless to get rid of problems. To function effectively, okay, a human being needs to feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued. Those things sound very similar, but if you take a note of the words loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, I know that's two words, cherished, and valued, and check them out in a dictionary of thesaurus, they all, although they seem similar, mean very different things indeed. Some of them relate to somebody's self-esteem. Some of them relate to somebody's self-confidence. Some relate to their self-image. Some relate to one or more of them, a combination thereof. But collectively together, if a human being has a lacking, a deficiency in any area of their required, not necessarily desired, but required, needed levels of loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued, there's a deficiency in any of them, an imbalance, then it will have a knock-on effect on one or more of their levels of self-confidence, self-image, self-esteem, self-control, which is also a different way of saying willpower. And if there's any imbalance in any of their self-image, self-esteem, self-control, or self-confidence, it will have a knock-on effect that means somewhere they will feel out of control, or in pain, or with a lack of self-worth, or self-value, or a lack of self-love. And they'll basically feel like shit. Maybe not consciously, extreme cases consciously, but underpinning any habit, addiction, fear, phobia, any issue, yes, a traumatic event could instill a phobia. We'll talk about that over the next few days. But the only reason it would have been able to instill a phobia is if that individual had a lacking in one or more of their feelings, required feelings of loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued, which in turn means at that time they had an imbalance somewhere in their self-image, self-esteem, self-control, or self-confidence, which means they were already feeling vulnerable or in pain or worthless to some degree, either consciously or unconsciously, or in extreme cases, both. Okay? So over here is pain, negativity, feeling shit, no self-worth, no self-love, caused through that rocky road at the beginning of something being imbalanced in the loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued, causing something to be out of balance with self-image, self-esteem, self-control, or self-confidence to lead to the end. The other side of that is this way. Final destination is pleasure, happiness, a feeling of self-worth and pride, the perfect you. And the way you get there, people can get there, is that they ensure that their environment is such that it feels as though it doesn't have to have a basis in reality. Remember, feelings are what people perceive or choose to accept. It isn't necessarily reality for anyone or everyone or anyone else. It's about the individual that matters. If they perceive something as helping them to feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued, then it doesn't matter if everyone else on the planet thinks that's ridiculous. If it's about that person, okay? So if they can acquire feelings of love, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued, then that will help increase their levels of self-confidence, self-image, self-esteem, self-control. And if they are at full levels, then they will have a feeling of self-worth, pride, satisfaction, positive power, empowerment, pleasure, self-control. This end is pleasure, self-control. This end of the scale, pain, negativity, out of control. When you realise the truth of what I've just told you, which you will more so when you go to a dictionary and look at the meanings of the words, you'll realise that, yes, there could have been something that happened. They saw their mother maybe screamed at a spider running across the kitchen when they were young. And that made them, from there on, whenever they saw a spider, see the spider and think, Mama screams when she sees them, so should I. And thus the rocky slide into phobia starts. That can be an element, but here's the thing. If that child felt totally safe and secure, they wouldn't be affected by the mother's scream. Now, I know the argument is, of course, they trust their mother, that's who they look for protection, so because of that, that's why they don't feel safe, because they think the mum's scared, so they should be. And of course, that's got a large amount of truth and facts. The trouble is that as we get older, these unconscious reactions can still occur when they're no longer appropriate, and consciously, people can know that, you know what, I shouldn't be scared of spiders anymore. It's daft, and I know it, and they know deep down why it occurred, but they still react the same way when they see a spider. Why is that? Well, you know why it is? It's for the same reason that we are required as therapists. Why we can wave the magic wand. It's because they need an excuse to remove all self-blame, shame, guilt, and regret from themselves for not having got off their arse and sorted themselves out sooner. That's why it's true to say that, generally speaking, within the realms of ethics and laws, I've just looked at my stage area, and I really don't know how I've managed to make it move around. Me just walking, it's moving around. It's amazing. But yeah, if they were to, imagine this, We'll just call him Dave. Dave has taken too much cocaine and drunk too much alcohol every day of his life for the past 20 years. One day, Dave wakes up and he thinks, fuck this. You know what? Not going to drink anymore. Not going to take cocaine anymore. And he doesn't. And he's fully capable of doing that if he makes a determined decision and genuinely wants to. He genuinely could. And there's people out there that have done exactly that. They're in the minority, but the reason they're in the minority is for what I'm about to explain. Because then Dave leaves his house and he's walking around places he wouldn't normally, because he's not going to the pub for a drink, he's not going to score cocaine off a dealer. And he bumps into a family member or an old friend he's not seen for years. And they say, Dave, what are you up to? This may be maybe a week after he stops, so he looks a bit better as well in himself. He says, oh, you know, I'm just going shopping and I might go and see if I can get a job or something, you know. And I'll go, you what, Dave? Sorry to bring it up, but, you know, aren't you like, you know, drinking and taking too much drugs? They said, no, I've stopped all that. And they go, well, actually, we did think you look a lot better than you did last time we saw you. How did you do that, Dave? Oh, I just got up one morning, decided I'd stop, and I stopped. What's the family member or friend going to say? They're going to say, you what? You just got up and decided to stop like that. And Dave goes, yeah. They say, are you having a fucking laugh, Dave? You've robbed money off family and friends, or borrowed money and not paid it back for drink and drugs. And you could have just gone, no, stopped, as easy as that, like you're saying you have done now. Well, I suppose so, yeah. They're going to look a bit of a cunt. And what's worse is the family members and friends who should really focus on the, well, we've got Dave back, will keep bringing it up. Why didn't you do it sooner? And Dave's going to feel persecuted and attacked, and he's going to be pushed towards the negative end of the scale because that reaction from family and friends is going to make him feel unloved, unwanted, unneeded, the opposite of what he wants. So it's going to have a knock-on effect on him, and it's going to lead him towards pain. And because of state-dependent memory learning and behaviour, where when he's in that severe pain, he went to drugs and alcohol, he's going to what they call relapse and go back to doing it. Because then, when he sees the family and friends again, and he's relapsed and he's back doing it, they go, oh, you're back doing it? And he goes, yeah, I told you it wasn't that easy. I tried, but nobody would help. And he can become the victim again. Now, that could be an element of secondary gain, because then people will treat him as though, you know, oh, we're sorry, we should have helped. So that makes him feel worthy, and he gets attention that he felt he was lacking. But it means he stops getting attacked, more importantly. People will do more to avoid pain than they will to seek out pleasure. You'd think it was the other way around, but if something's painful enough, people will do what they can to move away from pain more so than they will do things that could bring them pleasure, which becomes very important with the way complete mind therapy works when we get into that tomorrow, because we're going to ramp the pain up to give them no choice but to change their life. So, that is why the people, they could do it for themselves, but they'd end up more often than not relapsing. That's why most people do. When they go through an important seeming ritualistic process, when they paid ideally a sizable amount of money, the more money the better, so they've attached a real value to it, financial value to them, and that's relative to them, because if they're a multimillionaire, as I said before, what they attach as real value is going to be different than the man on the street. So you've got to gauge that. But it's got to be something they've got to save up for. It's got to be something that's a real investment, okay? So that they book the session for themselves because they're ready for change. What you're really selling them, although you can't tell them this, otherwise it's showing them behind the curtain on Wizard of Oz, what you're really selling them, more so in your marketing, you're not going to be a hypnotherapist or stage hypnotist. You're not going to offer them stop smoking in an hour or hypnosis show. You are going to offer them the life-changing, entertaining, memorable experience at their event, or the life-changing therapeutic encounter that means they can get the job or move in new social circles and whatever. But underpinning that It's never said verbally, but they know deep down that they could change their lives for themselves, but unconsciously they won't because they know they get attacked for not having got off their arse and done it sooner. That thing about the point of make or break, pivot point where someone's truly ready for change, what it really is, although no one will ever verbalise it, is that they know deep down they should get off their arse and do something, and that they could, but then they'd probably get attacked in the way I've just said, which would lead to relapse or perhaps even getting worse. Whereas if they go through an important seeming ritualistic process, pay money out, come and see you, spend time with you, go through a ridiculous seeming, the more ridiculous the better, as you'll learn over the next few days. The more ridiculous some elements of the therapy seem to be, the more the only rational explanation the person can come to is that you're doing these ridiculous things because they work. Because nobody would do anything that ridiculous unless it worked. So by thinking that in their heads, trying to rationalise it, they will be convincing themselves it's working and will work. So they actually strengthen all the suggestions, rituals, metaphors, techniques that you use by being a bit ridiculous. You give them a safe, perceived scenario and environment in your office or a connection to you. We'll cover that a little bit before the end of today's session. So they feel safe. They believe you're an authority figure, you're good at what you do, they've seen the social proof, the testimonials from other clients whose lives have been changed. They've seen your local newspaper or regional or national newspaper or media stuff. They believe you're the one for them. But more than that, and this is maybe at an unconscious level, they know that you will give them the excuse, that suit of armour to leave your office or leave their house once they've done the Zoom session or whatever. And in the case of our imaginary client before, this time let's imagine they've been to see you. You've gone through that important seeming ritualistic process with them. They no longer touch, drink or drugs. They bump into their old family and friends and they say, Dave, or whatever his name was, I've forgotten now, but we'll say Dave. They say, Dave, you're not drinking, you're not taking drugs. If it was that easy, why didn't you do it before? Dave goes, I wish I had, but I couldn't. You see, I had that problem for years, but then I read about this wonderful therapist, or I got told about this wonderful therapist, and I had to save up to go and see them. I really did want to change, but I needed to save up. And then I got to see them. There's a waiting list because they're so remarkably good at what they do that when I booked the session and paid in advance for it, that I had to wait 5-6 weeks to go and see them. And I was only lucky enough to see them that quick because they'd had a cancellation. The normal waiting list is 3 to 6 months. That's how good they are. So I wish I could have done it sooner, but the key thing is, I'm right there. And that gives his family and friends no room to be human and go, we should have done it sooner, you fuckwit. Because he's explained he needed to save up. He didn't know about the existence of this person. So he's got the perfect excuse for not having done it sooner. The perfect reasons. They can't attack him. They can only go, oh, well, there you go then, or well done. In other words, any blame, shame, guilt or regret, feelings of self-blame, shame, guilt or regret he could have had himself or for not having done it sooner, or that could have been enforced upon him through the negative reaction scenario we went through before, can't happen, don't happen. The only reactions you can get are ones of, well, it's a shame you couldn't have done it sooner, but at least you have done. Well done, good luck in life. Things that make him feel worthwhile and empowering and send him to positivity and pleasure, concreting those changes that he has made of his own accord, really, because the important seeming ritualistic process is essentially bollocks. It doesn't really matter what you do in that bit as long as you do it with a straight face and deliver it with conviction, confidence, and a positive intent that it will work, so that the client picks up on it and thinks, this person knows what they're doing. I've seen the testimonials of the people they've had. I've seen the media of how wonderful they are. This must be what makes it work, so it's working for me. So they do all the work themselves. It's just that we're giving them protective armour to walk out of the office with, where all self-blame, shame, guilt and regret is removed from them, so that they can metaphorically leave that baggage behind that gets talked about in therapy and walk away feeling a sense of freedom, self-worth and self-love. And I hope that makes sense, because that truly is the key to everything. And it's the key to stage hypnosis as well. Because here's the thing. I probably did more stage hypnosis shows from the age of 15 to the age of 25 than most stage hypnotists in the world do in their career. Because there was a stage hypnosis industry in England in the late 80s through to about the mid to late 90s that meant you could be doing multiple shows a day, 7 days a week. Doesn't exist now. It went tits down, big style, mid 90s onwards. But I was fortunate to get in towards, well, during and for the heyday. So I did thousands upon thousands of shows, and in every venue imaginable. And I can tell you now, you can disagree with me all you want, but I'm telling you now that stage hypnosis is bullshit. No hypnotist has ever hypnotized anyone on stage or in therapy. Just create an environment where they believe something's gone on. On stage, you're giving people an excuse where at the end of the show, they can go back to the audience and say one of two things. And it doesn't matter whether you've told them they'll remember everything or they'll forget. People fall into one of two categories. They fall into the category that goes back at the end of the show and says to their friends, I can't remember anything. What did I do? They know full fucking well what they did. They're attention-seeking whores, but they've got the perfect excuse that you, the hypnotist, made them do it. So any self-blame, shame, guilt, or regret is removed from them. But they want to pretend they don't remember, because by doing that, they know that their friends have to tell them what they did, and the friends go, oh, you were hilarious. You made you do this, you did that, and they're getting more with the centre of attention. The 15 minutes of fame goes on a bit longer. They feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued. You get it? Refer back to what we said earlier. That's the benefit to them. Just as the laughter and applause on stage, when framed correctly by the stage hypnotist, the audience aren't laughing at you, they're laughing with you for using your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively, and being the stars of this evening's show. So it makes them feel valued. The more the audience laugh, the better they feel. The more they clap, the better they feel. And they can't be blamed because the hypnotist made them do it. Or you get the people who go back and go, well, I can remember. I can't believe he made me do that, which is, again, removing all self-blame, shame, guilt, and regret from them. I can't believe he or she made me do that. I just couldn't stop myself doing it. And again, people go, oh, well, you were wonderful. They're the centre of attention. It's about that hierarchy of needs that I've just explained to you. All of it is. I could break this down into how that's necessary for the sales process. But if you get the book that I mentioned to you before and showed you on camera, that's kind of where it'll go with it. It's the key to pretty much everything and anything in life. The true art of persuasion and manipulation and suggestion and control, which is what hypnosis really is to make people feel safe and make them feel the desire to do whatever you want them to do, so that it feels that they want to do it and they do it because they feel it's beneficial to them. That might seem too simplistic, but if you watch the replay of today's sessions and take notes, I've given you the core there, the bottom line core, since we've started, on how to create a mind control slave, on how to create an assassin, on how to create sex slaves, on how to get people to do things they don't want to do. But I'm not going to spell it out in black and white for two reasons. A, I don't want you doing it because it's illegal, immoral, unethical, and you shouldn't be doing it. But I will spell it out a little bit more tomorrow when we explain the complete mind therapy session, because some elements of those nefarious techniques of mind control are what are going to make you the leading therapist in your niche when you use the complete mind therapy session correctly, as I will teach you tomorrow. Because when you create such massive pain in that person's personal laptop computer, memory bank, unconscious, subconscious, call it what you will, to such a level that it's so painful The only way they can escape that pain, and they will want to, is to immediately, in that second, in that moment, that very instant in your office, to cut the tie psychologically to anything and everything that was holding them back from continuing to do what they've started the moment they come through your door. Because the moment you connect on that session or they come through your door, you talk in terms that they've left it behind. So, before you came here today, you used to be a smoker. How many did you used to smoke? And they might go, oh, I smoke 40 a day. You go, no, you don't. Before you came in here, you did, but you don't now. How many did you used to smoke? And you've got to be that adamant and dominant. And there's people talk about permissive hypnotherapy. Bullshit. The hypnosis that works long-term, rapidly, effectively, in one session is authoritarian and taking no shit. You're the fuckwit client. You're paying me money to change your life. So you'll fucking listen. I'm right. You're wrong, dickhead. Right? Are you ready to change your life? Yes. That kind of attitude. I'm not saying you should use that wording with the client. Some of them, they're probably going to get upset by that kind of wording. But you know what? There are some clients that I will be that offensive to, especially millionaire, heads up their arse, celebrities who think they rule the world, who are surrounded by yes men, management companies and stuff. Them, you really need to bring them down a peg or two. You've really got to take control if you want to get them off drugs and stuff, because they don't give a shit. But you've got to make them give a shit. And the way to do that is through pleasure and pain manipulation. Because what they're doing at the minute, they're getting some sense of pleasure from taking the drugs or the drink or being addicted to sex or whatever. You've got to make it so painful to carry on with that, that the only way they can get pleasure is to avoid those things that they've been doing up till now and do other things instead. Or in the case of clients who maybe are scared of public speaking, and by becoming confident and feeling calm about public speaking will be able to take a job promotion, say, and get better wages and improve their life in so many other ways. Currently, they're scared of that, and there's a lot of pain to the idea of doing it. You've got to make it so pleasurable for them to get up and talk to a group of people, but the thought or idea of not doing is so painful that their only option is to go and do it as they wanted to. You're rewiring the plug. If they're currently doing something they don't want to do, it's because on some level they're getting a gain or a pleasure from doing it. So you need to make it painful to carry on and pleasurable not to. Or if they're not doing something that they want to, then it's because they're getting pleasure by not doing it and pain by the thought of doing it, and you've got to reverse that to make it painful not to do it, pleasurable to do it. And it truly is as simple as that, and that is why tomorrow, when we're going to complete mind therapy, I will really be using some very potentially psychologically disturbing, disgusting scenarios. And yes, I do use them with clients, and yes, I will with pretty much all clients use terms like cunt, fuck, bastard, twat, shit, anything else you can think of. I will get them to imagine scenarios that involve rape, unless they're a rape victim, obviously. Bit of common sense. But people who are not, or haven't mentioned they're a rape victim, there's a way of doing that so we can avoid ab reactions. I'll cover that tomorrow. Trust me, I will cover how to avoid ab reactions, negative reactions and all that shit tomorrow. But the more extremely distressing, visually, psychologically and verbally disgusting the mental image you could paint in that client's mind to either A, stop them doing what they're currently doing that they want to leave behind, or to stop them not doing what they need to do so they start doing it, then the far more likely you are to get results, because human beings will do more to avoid pain than they will to seek out pleasure. Ultimately, they'll think consciously they do stuff for pleasure, but that's why so many people who know that if they did a bit more exercise, they'd lose weight or look a bit better. They know that consciously. They know if they did it, you'd think they'd seek out the pleasure. But no, there's too much pain in their head idea of doing the exercise, so they will avoid the pain and therefore not do it. The pain overrules the pleasure. And that's the key to everything in life. You want to manipulate somebody, you've got to find what's painful to them, what's pleasurable for them, and depending on the outcome you want, it's always about reversing it. That makes sense? And if it doesn't, watch the recording back when it goes into the group tomorrow. Hopefully it will by now. I'm pretty certain you're all sane, intelligent individuals following this. So we're into the final half hour of session 2 of day 1. Tomorrow we're going to teach you CMT cured. I'm going to tell you a little bit more. So that's the basic psychological underpinnings. Stage hypnosis or therapy is about removing self-blame, shame, guilt and regret from them. Manipulating them with pain and pleasure. Using them so they avoid the pain, seek out the pleasure, but only because the pain is so powerfully painful enough that they go, fuck that, I'm going to take action and I am going to go over here. You know? But in a sense that seems credible. So you've got to create credibility. So one of the elements of them is that they will see on your website or in your newspaper articles certificates. It doesn't matter. That one's for, I think, mind, emotion, liberation techniques. People in the boot camp get that. That one's complete mind therapy. You get one of them at the end of the course. That one's complete mind therapy. You get one of them at the end of the course. Looks all very nice and fancy. Oh, that's complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress. You'll get one of them. Mind Care Organisation Limited. It all sounds fancy, doesn't it? The point is, you need fancy looking diplomas on your wall. And when these are in frames, particularly like ones with coats of arms on, because they look like universities and they've got that conditioned link in people's heads of university and stuff. These are just a few examples. That's particularly nice, coat of arms. Things with coats of arms, old style lettering. It looks like the kind of things you see in a lawyer's office, solicitor's office. And that's good, because they're consultants, legal consultants. Or where you go and see a medical specialist, they're a medical consultant. Well, you're going to be a mind therapy consultant, so that people psychologically attach the same level of prestige to you. But you need certificates. Now, you'll get some of them, 2 of them, with this course, Complete and Conscious Reprogramming for Emotional Disease and Distress, and Complete Mind Therapy. In the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, there's a whole bunch of others. But all of them, including your CMT and your cured, are genuinely approved, endorsed and accredited by the United Kingdom Board of Clinical Hypnotherapy. And yes, you can legally say that the training that you've done when you pass the exam on Sunday is approved, endorsed and accredited by them. It's endorsed and accredited by the International Practitioners of Holistic Medicine, the Royal Institute of Hypnotherapy and Psychotherapy, which also includes the Mind Care Organisation UK Limited. And that will give you rights, because you'll learn CMT, to use the lovely ACMT, Association of Complete Mind Therapists logo. Look at that, it looks like a love heart. Hearts there, caring and sharing. And the tagline at the bottom is, get into the heart of your problems. Oh, it seems like a lovely caring therapist. It sells what they are looking for. We've got them in different colours. And you get the JPEGs to these in your download that you can use. That's for the camera that's in the office, I've just realised. That's not seeing it. And there's a whole bunch of other ones that are in the boot camp, for people who are in the boot camp piece and whatnot. The point is, your logos, oh, that's a nice one. RICH, Rapid Instant Change Hypnosis. That stands for hope. Giving your clients hope. Hypnotic override, pain elimination. PCP, person-centered psychotherapy. DRT, drug release therapy. I'll explain what that means in a minute, but for the camera in the office as well, when I move to the side. So just quickly again, the camera in the office, because that's the video recording that I'm going to put in the group for you. They are the other images that I showed you before. The point is, you need professionally designed logos. Now, you will get the Association of Complete Mind Therapist ones and the Complete Unconscious Reprogramming of Emotional Disease and Distress. Yes, you will. If you want to, so that's cured, by the way. There are different logos for cured. camera in the office. Well, talk about that tomorrow, but that's mind emotion liberation techniques. Melt, to help your clients melt the problems away. All of these things are descriptive. So the logo sells the benefit almost. So cured, complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress. They can come to your office for the cure and leave your office cured. And because you're a cured practitioner, you can legally use the word cure and cured in that context on your website, because you're not allowed to claim to cure people as a therapist. It goes against advertising laws. But if you're saying you've got a diploma in cured, it's complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress, and that you give people the cure, aka complete unconscious reprogramming of emotions and energies, then suddenly you can have those words in your website legally, ethically and morally, which will help you. Look how many Google searches are done for like cure for phobias and all this, but you're not allowed to use it in your website until you've got a legal justifiable reason. You will have at the end of these 4 days. That alone was worth attending for, trust me, because you will get more people finding your website. And other people, anyone who hasn't done the cured course, will not be able to have those words in their site. Because saying that we're not allowed to claim that we give you a cure or people leave us cured is not enough of a justification, really. You could do that as well as what we've just said. But you make your own legal decisions, you get your own legal advice. I'm just saying it will increase your website hits. And it's the perception it puts in their head. Complete mind therapy, complete. The word complete implies there's nothing missing. That's why it's complete. So it must be the best. It tells them it's mind therapy. And that tagline, getting to the heart of your problems, seems caring, especially with the symbolism of the love hearts in the center that you saw on screen. If you want to see what any of these logos look like in closer detail, just go to magicalguru.com, click on where it says Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp, or even better, go into the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group, click where it says announcements, click on there, and one of them's got a link to the bootcamp with the special offer, but you'll see all the 18 different logos that bootcamp members get to use. It'll be a lesson to you on how to structure things. Now, drug release therapy, DRT. So another title, that's what these are, titles, the marketing brands, that's it. The techniques are why they work. They all work for the same reasons that we've covered today and will over the next few days. But that DRT, drug release therapy, stands for, the letters of the word drug release therapy stand for dissolve regrets and resentment, understand guilt and grief, release and reprogram emotional learnings, eliminate anger, anguish, anxiety and stress as you strengthen and energize positively. And that gives you all these keywords to put on your website, because that genuinely is the things people need to deal with to get off drugs. And the interesting thing is that it honestly, in a way that's almost subliminal, is telling them that you know all they need is an excuse to remove all self-blame, shame, guilt and regret from them, but in a manner where any of the family and friends could look at your website and find it credible and believe that they had to go through that important seeming ritualistic process to get the outcome they get. Hopefully that makes sense. So, I think, let me just check my images here. No, that's for tomorrow. That's for tomorrow. So yeah, my bullet points that I've got at the side of me tell me that the keys that I wanted to get across to you are that we're going to cover marketing in more depth as the week goes on, but the first things they see have got to, in their mind, attach a prestige to you, a professionalism, a credibility that you know what you're doing, that what you do is powerful, that it's what they want. It will give them the suit of armour. It's got to conjure up at an unconscious level, or consciously, or both. That's a matter of your own opinion. Personally, I think it's more conscious than most people or therapists would choose to admit, or most clients would choose to admit, because they don't want that self-blame, shame, guilt, or regret of not having got off their arse and dealt with it sooner. So they'd sooner play the I don't know card. Genuinely. That they feel safe to come to you. And you know what? The more expensive you are, the more safer they will feel. They might feel they can't afford it, but if they feel they can't afford it, they don't fucking want it enough. They can go and find some other monkey that's prepared to take peanuts. Okay? The fact is, if you are not the dearest hypnotherapist in your area, you're doing yourself and your clients a disservice. As you'll learn over the next few days, I genuinely believe that the way to get as close to 100% success rate as you possibly can with as close to 100% of the clients is to not see shit clients who can't afford to pay good money and who do not attach enough importance to it. Well, that is relative, because with a millionaire, they could pay a few £100. They wouldn't attach enough importance. You've got to charge them something so they attach value to it, or make a trade with them that, you know, and I've done this in the past, rather than asking or demanding a multi-thousand-pound fee from a millionaire, I have said I will cure their supermodel girlfriend's fear in exchange for, I'm not going to tell you what, because I can't, because it will give you a clue who that particular client was, but something that basically money could buy, but if I was to buy it in monetary terms, would probably cost me £10,000, £20,000 sterling. However, to that individual, the actual cost to them will be effectively nothing financially, but they know the value of it because they price it high and all the people who buy it off them pay that price. So they do attach a value to it. So by giving me that, they buy in the same way as someone who lives on a council estate who's unemployed may have to save up for several months to get together the money to pay £250 or £500 sterling to stop smoking or to lose weight or whatever. Or the other option is they could go and sell the fucking Xbox and the £200 trainers that somehow they keep fucking buying. Lazy, dull, dossing cunts. But anyway, that's aside. Some of this is tongue-in-cheek. Some of it isn't. I'll let you decide for yourself. That can almost be like a little puzzle within the course. Actually, I'll give you a clue. None of it's tongue-in-cheek. I mean, every single bloody word I'm teaching you. Because I promised you that at the beginning. You'll get the truth and nothing but the truth for the next 15 minutes of today, and then tomorrow for another 2 90-minute sessions, Saturday and Sunday. So let's recap on what we've looked at today. The fact that hypnosis doesn't exist is bullshit. Hypnosis exists only in the mind of the believer. It's perception. If somebody feels they've been hypnotized, then they have been. Now, most therapy courses would tell you, tell the client there's no such thing as a hypnotized feeling. Otherwise, at the end, when they don't feel like something special happened, it will have a negative effect on any worthwhile work that you did. I say, better idea, learn to actually be a fucking decent hypnotist and do it properly in the first place, so the person genuinely feels like they've been hypnotized. And that is why I said earlier, if you remember, yes, it was a nested loop, all right, I may have told a little white lie, about people going to sleep. 99.9% of my therapy clients, recurring on a one-to-one level, and mostly in a group setting as well, but not for television or media. There's a reason for that that I'll explain when we cover television and media. But for non-media therapy clients who are not appearing on TV or radio, 99% of them recurring end up going to sleep. And that is because I get them to lie down the majority of the time. I dim the lights in the room. The curtains are closed. There is probably just candlelight or a small lamp, so it's as dim as can possibly be. There is the winky-wanky, arty-farty, tree-hugging, new age shite music going that they expect to hear because that's the stereotype they've seen in films. So let's provide it because then they'll believe it's real. And the heating is hyped up as high as it can be when I'm in the room with them. So that all of these things together, perhaps even some aromatherapy, relaxing oils burning, they will go to sleep. Especially when you do a nice, boring, 15-minute progressive relaxation, muscle relaxation, Jacobson's relaxation induction, which I'll teach you tomorrow, as well as rapids, don't worry, I'll teach you now, because you'll need them for radio and TV shows and journalists and public demonstrations. But when you've done the progressive drawn-out induction process, using techniques that are talked about in Dr. Herbert Benson's excellent book, The Relaxation Response, and his second book called Beyond the Relaxation Response, also by the same man, Dr. Herbert Benson, where effectively he tells you about the true therapeutic healing power of being truly relaxed and getting a quality sleep. There are 2 natural rhythms in the body, the circadian rhythm and ultradian rhythm. The ultradian rhythm happens once roughly every 90 minutes to 2 hours, okay? Which is why really a training session shouldn't be longer, or a therapy session any longer than about 90 minutes, ideally 2 hours max. It shouldn't be any less than an hour, because what you're doing is increasing the law of probabilities that at some point during that therapy session, the person will naturally, their mind and body and physiology will naturally slip into the ultradian rhythm, which makes them naturally more suggestible and triggers the body's natural healing processes. The circadian rhythm happens roughly every sort of 12 hours. It's the idea of when you get so tired that you go to sleep. Restorative sleep, when you are proper relaxing sleep. Most people don't, because they've got all these stresses and tensions, worries running around in their mind, but we can guide them through muscular relaxation, psychological relaxation of a verbal and physical progressive relaxation induction to a point where they will go genuinely to sleep, and in that anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes maybe as much as an hour and a half, that they are more often than not snoring, or certainly you know they're asleep, even if they're not snoring. Most people snore though, every now and again, they really do. At the end of the session, when you say wide awake, you kind of have to shout to wake them up because they're asleep. But that's brilliant, because guess what? They believe that means they must have been out of it. They must have been under. They must have been in that zombie hypnotic state they believe exists. I ensure that they feel they've had the magic one wave. You can too. I ensure that they feel they've been out of it in zombie land, and that therefore this must mean it's going to work for them. And indeed, when I make sure they wake up, and don't worry if they don't snore, very few don't snore and don't go to sleep. Most of them do if you do everything I said about dim lighting, warmth, the music, lying down, even giving them a blanket, especially with the female clients if you're a bloke. That way they can cover their legs, because you'll get a lot of female clients show up that they see the hypnotist as a power figure and will come dressed provocatively. So a good colleague of mine, Paul Brady, taught me when I was very young, have a blanket there, tell them it's because their body temperature will drop while they're under hypnosis. It's not, it's so that you won't get distracted looking up their skirt when they're laid down. Yeah. But it'll also make them more likely to go to sleep, because laid down, eyes closed, covers on, have all got anchored connections, conditioned responsive of going to sleep. That's what we want them to do, because then that way when we bring them round, hey presto, they will believe that they've been hypnotized. They will have had the magic wand. That's why I'm so fucking successful. That's why that is the key for therapy. Now for stage, it's a whole different ballgame. You're just giving them an excuse to play along. They'll do the rest themselves. We'll go into that in more depth over the next few days for doing public demonstrations. So I've got sort of 10 minutes left. I'm going to end today in a minute, well, not in a minute, in about 10 minutes, with a letter that I received in the post this week, because I know some of you might be thinking, or those who watched the replay before tomorrow's session who couldn't join us today might be thinking, oh my God, he spent half the time saying fuck, cunt, shit, twat, attention-seeking fuckwits, and all manner of other things. He's saying it's all bullshit and it's effectively just a placebo effect and creating a situation. Well, yeah, I am. But the thing is, placebo's not a bad thing. It's been proven time and time again, that, for example, if you give somebody a tablet to take as a ritual 3 times a day, that they're more likely to get better if that tablet tells them to take it 3 times a day than if it's to take it once. It's been proven, though, that if they're told to take a capsule that's 2 different colours, as opposed to just a white tablet, that has a higher success rate in placebo studies. It's been proven, however, that certain colours of that capsule will have a better effect on anxiety than stress or whatever. Don't use a red capsule for stress. Use blue, that's calming. But it's also been proven that giving someone an injection that's just a saline, it's a placebo, sham injection, is more likely to make the person with long-term pain, arthritic, feel like that they're fine for the next few months, if that's the placebo idea, that suggestion that's been planted into their head. It's been proven beyond any reasonable doubt, not just by the medical fraternity, respectable medical fraternity, but I've done it in the real world. And I'm going to explain ways that you can within your therapy to make it far more powerful and effective over the next few days. For those people who maybe not got a background in therapy at all, don't worry. Complete mind therapy that you're going to learn tomorrow, the structure of, is all you need. Although, to be honest, what I've told you today is all you really need, because genuinely it's all I had. In so much as, you know how to get rapport, I told you. Inducing the trance, well, you need a script. Guess what? It's in the download package for Complete Mind Therapy and Cured. That if you click on the pinned announcement section in the group, boom. As is the deepener, as is the ego strengthening, as is all the therapy, as is the post-hypnotic and the awakening. And I've already told you how to make sure to keep their eyes closed and be in the right state of mind. I pointed you in the right direction that advertising is important, logos and, you know, your social proof and stuff. I know we will cover that more when we get to Sunday on marketing, advertising, publicity and promotion. And don't worry, I'm not saying that you've got to walk away from this a so-called scriptnotist. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what, let me tell you this. I could walk into a room, be challenged to do anything and do it. You could as well at the end of this course. Certainly if you become a bootcamp member, because there's tricks in there I won't have time to show you that can make that difference. But you'll be more confident and competent at the end of these 4 days than most therapists out there, certainly the ones that weren't taught by me, ever will be. And you will be able to go and just make it up as you go along. But I'd advise you not to, if you genuinely want to be ethical and moral. Because if you make it up on the spot, yes, it'll work most of the time. But if you create, or rather use, a script that I created for you, Complete Mind Therapy, that's like a laser-guided missile. Every single word is in the place it is for a reason, and that reason is because it works better than any other word could do at that moment in that sentence. The sentences are structured so they have embedded commands, so they have future pacing, so they have disassociation or positive association that is relevant at the time that's needed. So that if you read that script in the way that I do, the way it was intended to, so that at certain times your voice tones become relaxed and slow, or at other times of enthusiasm, you've got that energy within, they become faster and more upbeat, and the whole range of things in between that create all those different emotions and feelings inside. Then you can get the same results that I have, and my thousands upon thousands of tens of thousands of successful students around the world are getting on a daily basis using the Complete Mind Therapy system that I'm going to teach you tomorrow. But remember, when I do teach it you, the reason it works is because of everything we've covered in the 2 sessions today. The fact that it removes all self-blame, shame, guilt and regret from the client. It gives them a personal shield of protection to go away and not need to rely on any secondary gains, because any chance of doing that would actually be painful to them. So painful that they'll do anything to avoid it once they've gone through the ritual, because they just want to remain in the place that's now pleasure. Pleasure's here, pain's always there. I'm getting the spatial anchoring wrong. Who cares? Because it's bullshit anyway, generally. Especially when they've got their eyes closed during the therapy session. It's got some use in public speaking, and stage hypnosis shows, I admit. But for therapy, their eyes are closed, so it doesn't really matter if you get that bit wrong. What does matter is what they can hear. Which is why when you're conjuring up mental images, the more honed your script is, the more precise the structure is, which if you want to jump ahead of the class, you go into the group, click pinned announcements, you download the Complete Mind Therapy and Cured package, and you read the Complete Mind Therapy script, and you listen to the audio recording of me delivering that script, which will teach you the voice tones to use. So you can read the script that you printed out as you hear me delivering the script, which will teach you when to raise your voice up, or when to talk slow and calm, or when to raise your voice slightly so that a apparently normal sentence like, I don't know if you're in a trance now or in a few moments' time, is actually perceived to the person more like, I don't know if you're in a trance now or in a few months' time, but you're not doing that. I'm just explaining that's how it's perceived with that slight voice tone change of, I don't know if you're in a trance now or in a few moments' time. There has to be a slight change, but ever such a slight auditory change becomes an embedded command where the unconscious, there's no critical faculty resistance, and they argue that that means it becomes a hypnotic command. The truth is, what you do in the therapy session, it doesn't really matter. But if there is any worth in disassociation, association, in collapsing anchors and creating positive ones, we may as well kill that hour we've got to spend with the client with something that might have some genuine therapeutic worth, even though it's not necessary, because as long as you create the environment, doesn't matter what you do, it will remove the self-blame, shame, guilt and regret as rapidly and effectively as my wife will remove the pop-ups from my computer before tomorrow's sessions take place, so we don't get those pings every now and again. It is as simple as that. It truly, honestly, sincerely is. And using a script means that you will be precision, it will have more power. Yes, you can make it up as you go along, but never feel bad about using a script as long as the script you're using is a good one. That is the biggest key. So before I leave you with this letter, because a lot of you are probably thinking that Jonathan Ryle is somewhat of a foul-mouthed cunt. I won't want to leave you with that thought today, but I hope you realise that actually I've done it for a purpose. And the purpose is, as you will see tomorrow, the more extreme, provocative, emotionally, psychologically button-pushing or distressing mental imagery you can use in the therapy session to cause the pain, to push them away from doing what they no longer want to do, or push them away from remaining in that period of life where they don't do what they need to, so they go for the pleasure that brings the outcome they desire, the better it works. So yes, I will have the smoker visualize having to tell, if he was to carry on smoking, visualize having to tell his family and friends that he's only got a matter of months to live because he was a silly fuckwit, carried on smoking. And to imagine seeing the kids and the grandkids crying, distraught, and floating forward in the mind when they died, seeing the family falling apart, depressed because they really upset that, you know, that they didn't stop soon. I really ramped the bloody pain up, you know. I had a client come to me, I'll leave you with this story before this letter. I had a client come to me at a seminar a number of years ago, and he said, I've come on the seminar not really to learn hypnosis. I wanted to get close to you. Your waiting list is months because I never see a client immediately. Here's the thing, even if you've got an empty date book, you don't see a client for at least a month. I would say more like 6 weeks. And then the only reason you can fit them in is if they come on a certain day at a time, you tell them, and they will come when you tell them to if they value it enough, because you've had a cancellation. Because otherwise they'll have to wait 6 months. This is not just a sales technique to get them in the diary, it's to heighten that perception you're bloody good at what you do. Because if you were that good, you'd be booked up months in advance. You need to elevate your status. And you take at least 50% of the money up front as a non-returnable booking deposit. And the fee you charge is sizable, more than the other therapists of the attached value. I charge a minimum 500 quid, generally more, as I'll explain over the next few days, and how you can do that. So they pay 250 quid deposit. When they show up, they pay the other 250 quid there and then before the session starts. Cross my power with silver. Right, like I mentioned earlier. All those things in place with your advertising, and what you do in the middle's neither here nor there, really. But let's imagine it is. That's why we're going to teach you complete mind therapy and cured tomorrow. And then the day after, we're going to teach you, or it might be tomorrow and the day after, it might split between them, we'll teach you slow, rapid, and instantaneous hypnotic induction techniques. I'm going to teach you HYPNO-TRICKS, which are things that work every time, that can be used as convincers for public demonstrations, for TV and radio shows, for convincing journalists or people at networking meetings that you are gods, they will book you for your services, whether it's entertainment, therapy, or both. I'm going to teach you how to create multiple streams of passive income and a whole bunch more besides. Sounds like a tall order to teach you all that over the next 3 nights at just 3 hours each night, but I've got 9 hours left. And remember, I learned the majority of that through 3 90-minute audio cassettes and a 67-page manual. Yes, I've honed it even better so that what I share with you over the next few days will be better. What I'd like you to do at the end of today, not necessarily today, because you might want to go and have a sleep, some of you in some time zones, but before tomorrow, before you join us again, please go into the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group. Click on the pinned announcement. There you will find the link and the code you need to use on the website to get your Complete Mind Therapy and Cured backup training audios, videos, scripts, manuals, logos for advertising and certificate pack and all that. I'll explain it more tomorrow, but download it. It's a zip file that you download. Be sure to check your junk and spam folder in case the download link gets sent there when you've gone to the link. Also check out the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp if you're not already a member. Not doing a massive sales pitch, I'll let other members tell you how wonderful it is because their comments are on the link that's in the bootcamp. And if you'd like to give any feedback about what you've learned today, please do so in the group. If you've got any questions about today, please type those in the group and tag me, Alex Williams Smith, and I promise that tomorrow I will either type a reply to you, or if I don't, I will have made a note of that question to answer it live on camera during the training. And then at the end of tomorrow's, you can do the same, and I'll answer those on Saturday. At the end of Saturday, you can do the same, and I'll do it on Sunday. And then at the end of Sunday, you can do the same, and I'll probably do a Facebook Live in the group on the Monday to answer the final questions, okay? I think that's fair. That way we get maximum time of actual training during these days. So if you could also leave feedback, what you think of day one. I will ask at the end of the course for feedback in there, but it'd be nice to see your feedback because of this weird way this training structure is. If you could do that in the group, because I'm more likely to see it rather than on Zoom. So before I leave you for today, just so you know that I'm not completely all about the money. I'm not completely focused on material things. I do actually, I don't make a big thing about it, but I do a lot. You know, and I'm not always swearing unnecessarily. I just want you to see another side, so, you know, not always bragging. And I'm not sharing this to brag about all the wonderful work I do for charity. But this one touched my heart, especially because, you know, during this COVID coronavirus crisis, this is May 2020 when this has happened. I've still been doing some stuff for charity, but I've been doing it online. That's more on the magic side. I've been doing that, bits of entertainment, you know, for old folks' homes and stuff, and donating the odd bit of money. And, well, I got this letter off Edna Johnson from an old folks' home nearby. It arrived this week, and I'll just read it you. I want you to see the other side of me, as it were. It says, "Dear Dr. Royal," because obviously she don't know I'm called Alex. Saw her on the website saying Jonathan Royal. "Dear Dr. Royal, God bless you for the beautiful digital radio which you donated and which I won at the recent Senior Citizens Luncheon. I'm 94 years old and live at the local home for the aged. My family has long since passed away and I rarely have visitors. As a result, I have very limited contact with the outside world, even less during this crisis. This makes the gift you donated especially welcome." I'm going to tear to me right now. "My roommate, Maggie Cook, has had her own radio for as long as I've known her. She listens to it all the time, though usually with an earplug or with the volume so low I can't hear it on my side of the room. For some reason, she's never wanted to share it. Last Sunday morning, while listening to her morning gospel programmes, she accidentally knocked her radio off its shelf. It smashed into many pieces and caused her to cry. It was so very sad. Fortunately, I have my new radio. Knowing this, Maggie asked if she could listen to mine. I told her to fuck off. God bless you, sincerely, Edna Johnson." So with that thought in mind, thank you for your kind attention. Please leave feedback on today's session in the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group. What did you expect? And trust me, it gets a whole bunch worse tomorrow in terms of language and metaphor, but it gets a whole bunch better as well, because this is stuff that genuinely does work. It's been what I've taught television life coaches, famous name television hypnotists around the world that consult with me. I'm not allowed to say the names on camera, but if you go and look at the bootcamp details in the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group, click on my link there, you'll find testimonials from television hypnotists, life coaches, and other famous names around the world who I've either taught, advised, mentored, or still coach. And trust me, they pay me thousands, have done over the years. You're getting the truth, the essence of it all over the next 4 days for less than you spend for a night out on beer. So hope you've enjoyed it. If not much I can do about it, really. Hopefully you'll enjoy tomorrow instead. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for staying up or for getting up so early, as the case may be. Download that stuff before tomorrow. I'm Jonathan Royal. You're you. Good night from me here in England. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. I'll be in the group briefly in about half an hour downstairs when I've stuck my pyjamas on and gone for a drink. So if you want to start leaving feedback, I will have a look at it and feel hopefully loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, and valued, and all that kind of thing. Bye for now.